Hey there. I hope the second half of 2025 is off to a good start for you. Welcome aboard the AM show across Ghana's 16 regions and around the world on myjoyonline.com. We're coming to you live from our studios here in Kokomemle, of course, broadcasting to all 16 regions on the Joy News channel. We're also live on Facebook, on X Spaces, and on YouTube. And my name is Sweetie Abochi. Let me tell you what to expect this morning on the AM show. It's a 4-hour packed show. So the first 1 hour, we have the News Belt, where we'll serve you the AM news. And it contains the business update segment as well as AM Sports, which comes right after business update. Then we get into a news review, usually getting into the second hour of the show. And we'll review the newspapers. Today, being a Wednesday, we usually have academics join us. In fact, I'm sure we have 3 doctors joining us today. Dr. Kwame Asasante is head, Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Dr. Jabri Mohammed is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And Dr. Pakwesi Eduafo Abedu is a development analyst. So like I said, we have 3 academics joining us to review the newspapers this morning on the AM show. So for our big stories today, we know that gold trade is poised to change the face of Ghana's international trade as small-scale and artisanal mining hit $5 billion, has raked in that much in export value in months. But the question we are asking is, can we keep this trajectory in a sector fraught with locally existential and international vulnerability? There are so many challenges there, and we want to unpack. Also, how do we harness this advantage in our quest to industrialize for accelerated development? All that today we have a stakeholder in the sector who will be speaking to these issues. So you want to stay with us for that. And we'll bring you AM Business, where we'll take you to the Tree Crops Development Authority. And they've unveiled a raft of government-backed measures aimed at tackling post-harvest losses and raw material shortages that continue to hinder the growth of Ghana's mango industry. James Ishen will be on that beat and will bring you more details. I'm inviting you to join us with your comments and your thoughts via phone and across all social media handles with Joy News on TV. Samuel Kojo Brace and I, Sweetie Abochi, will be your host for today. Let's start now with, a gentle reminder before we go that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Let's start now with the AM news coming up next. This is the AM news. Details now. Starting with, there was drama in Parliament when Minority Leader Alexander Penyumakin attempted to use the dispatch box to ask a question standing in his name. That attempt was fiercely rejected by the Majority Leader, Mahama Yariga, who argued that the Minority Leader has always tried to take excess liberties in Parliament and will not be allowed. Listen to what happened.
The ministry intends to ensure that this policy translates into value addition.
Honorable Minority Leader,
yes, Mr. Speaker.
Hold it. Let's hear the Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, you are setting a precedent.
Once he's insisting.
You are setting a precedent.
Once he's insisting.
Can you have the Minority Leader show us which standing order he stands on to ask questions from the dispatch table? Which standing order? Because our standing orders are clear. At question time, the Speaker shall call successively each member in whose name a question stands on the order paper. The member shall rise and ask the question that stands in the name of the member on the order paper. Mr. Speaker, you should show me the basis for he always wanting to go and ask his questions from there, when every other member, including myself, I stand here to ask questions. If he should go to the dispatch box to ask a question, if I have follow-up questions, will I also go to the dispatch box to ask a follow-up questions? Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow this. This is not the practice. I have been in this house For so many years, I have seen leaders, I have seen minority leaders. This is the first time I see a minority leader wanting to ask questions from the dispatch box. You've been here with us for all these years. You tell me, name one minority leader that stood at the dispatch box to ask questions. One, name one, Mr. Speaker. Name just one, so that I'll be satisfied and I'll sit. Name one minority leader who will go to the dispatch box to ask questions. Why? Why are we overindulging him?
Well, so that's in Parliament. And the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapor, has announced temporary disruption of power supply across the country on Sunday as gas suppliers ENI turn off their valves for rehabilitation. It is part of the company's measures to increase gas production to 270 millimeter SCAF. According to the minister, the increase in gas production is of gain to the energy sector, despite the temporary inconvenience. And Mr. Jinapor was speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the reconstruction of the 161 kilovolt Ahomaso to Kumasi transmission line.
This Sunday, ENI would turn off their valve temporarily to increase gas production to about 270 SCAF. That is good news. It means that we are stabilizing the power sector. But let me also use this opportunity, members of the press, please help us to spread this information. Because the plant will be turned off for that short period within the day for maintenance works, we are likely to experience some interaction or interruption of power. Please bear with us. It is for good purpose. It is to enable us stabilize the power. We've done all the scenarios, we've done all the analysis. And based on the advice from the engineers, I've directed that we do not attempt to run those plants on liquid fuels for that short period, because it involves changing nozzles, it involves a lot of work. And so if you are going to be off for about 4 to 6 hours, you don't risk it transitioning to liquid fuels only to come back to gas. We are working around the clock to minimize any potential adverse impact during that period.
The minister has further announced works to improve the tariff setting mechanism for the power sector.
As part of efforts to bring about overall efficiency, we are working to involve the private sector in the distribution sector. And I want to encourage Ghanaian entrepreneurs to take an active interest in this project or program so that Ghanaians can continue to own the commanding heights of the economy for all the support is given to this sector. We are working to improve the tariff setting mechanism in collaboration with the PURC to bring about transparency and efficiency and digitize the sector.
Away from the energy sector, stakeholders, including academics, civil society groups, and the military, are urging decisive action to tackle the challenges hindering the fight against illegal small-scale mining in Ghana. The goal is to mitigate the negative effects on rural communities and safeguard the country's water bodies and forest reserves. Elsie Texan has more in this report.
Growing calls for a state of emergency in Ghana's forest reserves are overshadowed by concerns over state actors undermining anti-illegal mining efforts. At the launch of his book, State Capture in the Militarized Fight Against Illegal Small-Scale Gold Mining in Ghana, Professor Jasper Ayalazuno urged the government to scrutinize state actors' influence on small-scale mining, particularly in rural communities.
Civil society are doing the right thing by calling for this state of emergency. And this, like I was saying in my speech, the present government have to show that this state capture is not going to continue. There is no security threat more than this. And once this is happening, you declare a state of emergency and then you move the military in, deal with those elite class people. and make sure you clean the place.
Experts, including Francis Opoku of the Ghana Association of Small-Scale Miners, advocated for advanced technology to curb illegal mining.
Government's involvement in terms of providing finance, providing technology, in terms of even giving them mineable land to mine on, it's not done. So all these things, once we are able to move from, always going on raid against these legal miners to transforming it, giving them what it takes to make a scientific mining, to approach mining in a scientific way, we can easily move them away from what they are doing bad to do the right thing.
Nana Dr. Brigadier General Albert Edu, retired, on his part highlighted challenges in declaring states of emergency.
Some people are saying that the state of emergency should be limited to the particular area that the galamsey is taking place. Yes, it's true. It's one of the actions the government can take. But you should consider how it's going to affect or impact on the economic activities of those people who are not involved or directly involved in the galamsey and they have farms and all those things. What kills the military's morale is that the military will go in, capture some of these champagne and excavators. The judiciary, I'll not blame them because they have to go around the legalities. But at the end, you see that these excavators will go back.
Without strong political will and accountability, the fight against illegal mining may falter, leaving rivers polluted, forests devastated, and rural economies broken. For Joy News, Elsie Turkson.
Peace and governance analyst at United Development Program, Melody Azenim, has emphasized the importance of peace in the development of the country. He asserted that if there is no peace, there is no way there will be any kind of development, as the situation drives away investors, which will be a drawback to the country's development. Melody Azenim was speaking at the two-day Private Sector Investment Opportunity Forum held in Wa, and our Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent, Rafiq Salam, reports.
The National Development Planning Commission, NDPC, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, has developed an investment strategy toolkit aimed at supporting 8 districts across the regions in northern Ghana, including the Upper West region. Among the selected metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies, MDAs, benefiting from this initiative in the Upper West region are Sasala West and Wa West districts. The toolkit is designed to help these MDAs identify their comparative advantages, attract investments, and boost domestic revenue mobilization. The Peace and Governance Analyst at UNDP, Melody Azenim, spoke of the objectives of the project.
So the project seeks to ensure that women and young people in particular are actively involved in decision-making and peace-building processes, but ultimately also ensuring that we have peace and development within our communities, more specifically to the targeted communities that the project is being implemented.
She observed that peace is critical and a benchmark to wooing investments.
Peace is important. You know, if there's no peace, there's no way there would be any kind of development. Because once there's violence, there's shooting, there's burning of houses, everybody's running away. So peace is critical to our development, as a country and globally. We can all attest to the fact that it is because of insecurities that we are having people coming into our countries, So that tells you how important peace is to our own development.
Charles Kongulu is a principal planning analyst who represented the Director General of the National Development Planning Commission.
The commitment to spatial equity is why we are all here today. For too long, economic opportunity has remained heavily concentrated in just a few regions and cities. Meanwhile, regions like the Upper East, Upper West, and Northeast regions that have been the focus of the peace-building projects are endowed with rich agricultural potential, artisanal heritage, renewable energy resources, and resilient human capital, particularly in the youth and women.
Some participants shared their thoughts on the program.
I appreciate. I came here and I learned a lot. The program was good for me because of my business, but I will say, so I used shea butter and produce shower gel and shampoo.
This is an interesting program. I think planning is very important in whatever you are going to do. And looking at the presentation the districts are making, one can comfortably look at the area you think you can also fit in.
Reporting for Dwayne News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Stephen Jobson Mitchell, has lauded the Center for Research, Culture and Creative Arts for championing grant-funded implementation research aimed at rolling out pension and apprenticeship schemes for creatives and artisans in Ghana. Speaking at a policy dialogue on pension and apprenticeship programs hosted by the university, Professor Mitchell urged stakeholders to invest in youth empowerment and build a nation that values and nurtures creativity.
The policy dialogue held at the University of Education, Winneba, was a collaborative event between the School of Creative Arts and the Center for Research, Culture and Creative Arts, and was on the theme, Pension Schemes for Ghanaian Creatives and Artisans and Creating a Sustainable National Apprenticeship Program. Osuenyi Kweku Esel spearheads the Center for Research, Culture and Creative Arts.
As a center, research is our hallmark. We research, and our research should be relevant to the nation and contribute to the development of creative. So annually we come out with reports on creatives. One of it is report on TVET and national affairs, and then another is reports on the creative, if you like, what is happening to creatives in whatever spheres that they are. So with this one, we focus on pension schemes based on the happenings, the media engagement that they do, that in terms of, in their retirement, they are not able to, support themselves and they have to beg for alms. And it's a challenge that we need to look at, nationally and create legislation that is going to do that, because other countries, as we saw in this presentation, have done that successfully since the 60s.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Stephen Jobson Mitchell, in his address, shared his appreciation for the stakeholders' contributions to encourage creativity.
In this context, I recommend the Center for Research in Culture and Creative Arts unwavering role as a research catalyst in advancing this critical policy discourse. I appreciate your presence at this transformative national dialogue. Let us move from evidence to execution. Let us honor our artists and empower our youth through gainful employment. Let us build a Ghana where creativity is shielded from uncertainty.
Nicodemus MBD Derry, the national coordinator of the National Apprenticeship Program, acknowledged the timeliness of the policy dialogue.
I am sure this policy dialogue has come in timely, and I will want to encourage the university and the authors and the conveners of this not to let it be a 9-day wonder. The biggest challenge in Ghana, we are able to take initiatives, but sustaining the push and the fight becomes problematic when it's difficult. Let's push on.
From Winneba, Abigail Lissel Nkoma reports for Joy News.
In a thrilling climax to the 2025 National Science and Maths Quiz Central Regional Qualifiers, all three winning schools clinched their spots with scores in the 50s, as Infantiman girls led the pack with a commanding 56 points, sealing a day marked by intensity, grit, and high-scoring brilliance. My colleague Adobia Sari tells you more in this report.
17 units.
Yes.
We have 2 new teams.
Yes.
The final day of the 2025 Central Regional Qualifiers of the National Science and Math Quiz ended with a powerful display of academic might, and the girls led the charge. Infantiman Girls Senior High School emerged the top scorers of the day, dazzling audiences with a commanding 56 points, the highest recorded in today's contest.
I know that our girls are good and they are going to do well. And we expect much for them. And yes, they've done it before. And yes, they are going to do more than they've done.
The school, a familiar face on the national stage, is yet to win a regional title, but the team says that's about to change.
We know we have a God who is behind us, and we know what our girls can do. And so if we meet them, we know we can beat them.
They weren't the only ones to impress. University Practice Senior High School came through with a solid 55 points, while Agri Memorial edged out Bremane Sekuma. After both schools finished round 1 neck and neck, Agri eventually pulled ahead to finish with 54 points, earning their spot among the top 3.
Simple game. We are going to give out all we have. Yeah, we are going to win all the battles. We are reaching the regional. We are winning the regional. We are winning it. We are winning everything. Nobody can come. I just go fight them. Everyone, we are telling everyone, let's go fight us. We don't want them. Let's go away. Let's go. Is out here. We are winning.
Senior High School, though finishing with 43 points and missing out on the top 3, secured qualification to the Nationals as one of the best runners-up. Their performance was enough to earn them a lifeline and a shot at redemption on the big stage. With Infantiman Girls eyeing their first regional title and a handful of other powerhouses in the mix, the regional championship promises to be nothing short of electrifying.
Adobia.
For Joy News, Adobia Asari.
Looks like my colleague Adobia Asari is having all the fun out there with the students. But on that note, let's get into our business update now with Samuel Kujo-Brace.
Well, let's do the business update now. And Finance Minister Dr. Tuforsen is considering July 17, that is next week Thursday, as the possible date for the presentation of the mid-year budget review. This is what we have picked up from persons with knowledge of this presentation. But what could be the focus of this presentation, and has Parliament approved this date? There is more in the following Business Desk report.
We are learning that this is the proposed date and it is subjected to Parliament approval. The development should mean that the date could change in the coming days. The Finance Minister is expected to use the presentation to update the public on the revenue numbers and whether we are making any progress in meeting the half-year target. Also, what about its spending and whether government is on track with its fiscal consolidation program? Sources say the Finance Minister will also use the mid-year review of the 2025 budget estimate to announce measures being undertaken by government to reform the current tax structures, especially when it comes to the value-added tax. It is, however, not clear for now whether the minister will be seeking approval from Parliament to spend any additional revenue that has come in.
Now, Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISA, Professor Peter Korte, says some government policies have failed due to a lack of proper research and data-driven planning. Speaking at a press conference at the head office of ISA and ahead of the Evidence of Action event, he stressed the importance of using evidence-based research to guide national development. Professor Korte called on government and policymakers to rely more on homegrown research to avoid repeating costly mistakes.
For instance, e-levy is a typical case where if we've done background research and everything, I'm sure would have implemented e-levy in a better way. The other tax handles that government introduces and then reverses because it didn't take research seriously. But if we do, that will be minimized. The other challenge we face with policy uptake is also to do with who funds the research. Most often, the policymakers want the research, are not prepared to fund. look at our budget statements and tell me which budget line says research. Last I was at FAO in Rome, and the agric ministers were there, including our own agric minister, and I challenged them. I said, when you go back, look at your budget. Look at how much you are assigned to research, negligible or non-existent. In Africa, research expenditure is only 1.3% of global research expenditures.
And that's all in Business Update on the AM News. Back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Thanks, Kojo, for bringing us Business Update. And that's a wrap for the AM News Bulletin. Coming up next, we bring you AM Sports. And in sports, we bring you this exclusive interview with Black Stars forward Mohamed Husseini on the national team's ambition and his personal targets for the season.
You end your season, couple of days time, there's an assignment. At what point did you know that you were called up to the Black Stars team?
I think I knew I was called up 5 days before the last game, and I was not really I was really excited when I got the call from the management team from the Ghana Black Stars. But then I knew my focus was not really on that, because I had like a big assignment to do already. So I just needed to make sure we ended the season well, and then I can go to the national team with a good feeling as well.
Do you remember who called you, and then where you were at that point when the national team call-up came?
So that day we had training in Brussels, and then on my way going home, and then I got a call from I don't remember the name.
But he's part of the
he's part of the Black Stars members. And then he said I got called up to the Black Stars, and then he didn't even finish talking. Then I ended the call. Then I was trying to call my mom, but then I couldn't get in touch with my mom because she was in Saudi. Yeah.
So you're going to bring the news to mommy first?
Yeah, but my manager knew. But then he just said good news, and then I was like, what is this guy talking about? And then when he just said this, and then a few minutes later, and then I had this call.
I think he just didn't want to eat into your head because he had a game to play.
Yeah.
But then your first national team camp, how was it for you, being among the boys, knowing that you're going to represent your country?
The experience was really nice, especially with the senior players and the captain as well. They really welcomed us well. They gave us a lot of advices, and then told us we had to take the opportunity being given to us. So we just had to I just have to be ready to grab my opportunity that is given to me.
Look, if I'm a footballer and I'm doing everything possible and I'm not getting caught up, it's a big issue for me. It's into my head. For you, Husseini, at those moments where you were playing so well, because there were news in the media, you are doing so well, why isn't that you are not part of the national team? Were those moments things that you read on the internet, and did it really worry you that you weren't getting caught up into the national team?
Yeah, I saw some of these comments and all this, and also some friends, they also text and say you deserve to be with the national team, but at the end of the day, it's not up to you, it's up to the people out there, for the people that work for the national team. They need to, I think they also see what you are doing, and they know you are good enough to be there.
A couple of training sessions, we had Michael Essien come around, we had Stephen Appiah come around. Obviously, Appiah is part of the management team, so he's going to be around. But Essien was a surprise, presence at your training ground. What was the boost seeing these two players come to the national team, and then seeing people you looked up to, watch them on TV, come to talk to you?
At first, I was really shocked when I saw these kind of players. I couldn't believe. I thought I was dreaming, you know. But then with ACN, I've seen him a lot when I was playing in Denmark, and then he always tried to give me some advice and all this. And then when he saw me with the national team, was like also really proud of me. He told me all this.
Look, I wish I wouldn't count that as your first appearance for the Black Stars, because obviously the minutes were too small for you. But then you came on and there was a slight chance that you had. It's a half chance, call it that way, but you still wanted to take it. At that point, do you feel you had something to show that you have landed?
Yeah, you could see like how passionate I came on to the field, and you could see I wanted to show something and like put my name out there.
How did it feel for you once again, still national team duties? We did the opportunity to play in the final of that Unity Cup because we lost to Nigeria. But then there was third place playoff on the line. And then Ghana was playing Trinidad and Tobago. You come and then you score your first goal in that, wearing the national team colours. How proud were you finding the back of the net in that game?
Yeah, it was a dream come true for me. Starting my first game for the national team and having to score was like was a dream come true for me.
Few minutes in the game against Nigeria, if you want to call it, and then you are handed the stats the next moment. What were the words from head coach Otuado, if he spoke to you before the game against Trinidad and Tobago? And what was the kind of message that he communicated?
He just told me to go out there and do my thing, and he just spoke with me how he wanted me to play. And then at first I was a bit confused because I haven't played as a winger in a long time, so it was a bit difficult for me.
I like that you mentioned the winger part, because look, people want to look at you and look at the fact that you're a striker, you're number 9, but sometimes you're also playing on the wings. Which type of player are you, if you had to describe yourself?
I think I'm dynamic. I can play as a striker and also a winger.
Which position do you enjoy most?
At this moment, I would say as a striker, because me playing as a striker, I get to score a lot of goals, and I think if I play as a winger too, I'm still gonna score a lot of goals. But me, I don't really mind. I just have to be ready wherever they put me. I just play and then give my 100%.
Great. One thing that drew attention, or one thing that came to the public notice, was the fact that the Unity squad, or the Unity Cup squad, had a lot of young players in it. Call it new faces as well, because they came inside and they came into the squad and then made names for themselves, including yourself. How do you feel about the next crop of players, young talent that Ghana seem to be producing?
I think there's a lot of competition in there, especially with the wingers, and also I think the strikers. I think it was a great opportunity for some of us to get to also showcase our talent out there.
Look, if I look at the current crop of players, I see a good future. But you sit in a better position to look at that because you are in the squad, you are part of the squad. What does the future hold for the Black Stars?
I think we have a lot of talented players. We just need to build on to make the team more stronger. A team where we can play together and win games.
I spoke to Lawrence Ejekum, I think a week or so ago, and he was talking about the fact that as a player, the very thing you need to do to stay around the national team is to be consistent.
Yeah.
Where do you stand as far as the national team collapse and then key features in the national team is concerned? Where do you see it happening? How do you stay in and around the national team for you?
To perform well in my club, Yeah, I think when I do that, I'll get the opportunity to play for the national team more.
In as much as we've seen you come around, as much as there are a lot of targets ahead for the Black Stars, one disappointing thing, I know I'm going to push you to the wall because now you're part of the team, so anything that has to do with national team, we have to include you. But how does it feel knowing that the Black Stars will not be at the Africa Cup of Nations this year?
I think it's really disappointing. I see like a big country like Ghana, and also like with the good players we have, I think we deserve to be at the AFCON, but things happen. We just have to move on and look on to the future.
The next assignment will be big for the national team, big for the whole country, big for the people in the country. The World Cup qualifiers get back in September. Look, 4 more games to go, but then before that, the September, we have 2 more games. How confident are you that this team can make the World Cup again?
Yeah, I think I'm really confident that the team is gonna make it to the World Cup.
Why do you have so much confidence?
Because with the players we have, I think it should be possible for us to win all the games to get to the World Cup.
Many players talk and they mention the fact that the technical team has been good to them. Talk about they giving them guidance. I'm going to single out one person in the technical team, that is Otuadu. How impactful is he? How crucial is he to the young players and then to everyone that comes in the senior national team?
Yeah, I think
what kind of coach is he?
I think he's a coach who likes to communicate, and he just wants you to listen and do what he wants.
As far as the national team is concerned, what is your target?
My target is to stay in the national team, be a starter for the national team, score for the national team, get the national team to where it's supposed to be.
And where do you think the national team belongs?
To the World Cup.
Great. Now let's move back to, because very soon you'll be going back to your club. New season, you get the opportunity to play in the Champions League. What preparations are you making as far as this new season is concerned?
Yeah, I've been training for the past few days. I've been training a lot. I just have to be ready because I have to also go back and do preseason, and the preseason is short, so I need to be in my best shape when I get back.
In terms of goals, in terms of assists, accolades, what you want to achieve, where do you see yourself as far as the club's performance in the league is concerned before we move to the Champions League?
For me, I just hope we start the season really good, because when last season we started like really poor, and this season I hope we can start like on a better way.
You seem to have answered my question, but you also seem to have run away from the question. I'm looking at you in terms of your targets, in terms of numbers. What do you want to achieve for yourself?
Me personally?
Yeah, for you personally.
For me personally, I want to be like the top scorer of the league, and I want to score a lot of goals in the league and also the Champions League. So I have my goals already. I wanna maybe like get. Can I make like say a number or something?
Oh yeah, you can hide.
So I wanna score like maybe 10 to 15 goals in half of the season, and I can take it from there, like, and the second round of the season, I'll try to get as much goals as I can.
If you are to, you're yet to play the season, but if you are to record it as a successful season, at what point will you say your season or your 2025-26 season is a success? What will be the metrics?
When I get to achieve the goals I set for myself, that's when I will say I've achieved my goals.
Look, away from field issues, how crucial is, because when I was communicating to you, you mentioned that you were trying to reach your mom when the call-up came in. How crucial is your family in your development?
For me, they are really important to me because I do this because of them and myself. So it's really important that I stay in touch with them.
How close are you with your mom, if to single her out, and why do you feel there's so much importance to that relationship between yourself and her?
I think I'm really close with her because she always prays for me, and then I think her prayers always keep me going.
Look, I'm going to get you to do something, but let's do this. Who has been your mentor growing up as a footballer? I mean, locally, in terms of Ghana, and internationally. Who did you grow up watching and why?
I think a lot of players from Ghana. I think Samoa Jan and also Asian, even though I'm not a midfielder. But then he used to shoot. He has like a good shooting technique. So I used to watch up to him as well. And Jordan and Dede and all the senior players. Yeah.
And then worldwide?
And worldwide.
Who do you model your game around?
I think all wingers, because I think I'm similar to almost every winger.
Mo, how crucial will the 2025-26 season be for you as a player, and where do you see yourself in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I wanna play in the top 5 leagues in a big club, and also I don't really want to talk about the future at the moment. I'm more concerned about the present, so I need to give my best to achieve my goals for this season, and then we can take it from there to the following seasons coming.
All right, thank you very much, Mo. It's been nice talking to you. Hopefully we see you get to score more goals for USG, get to banging goals for the Black Stars when you come around, and hopefully we see you at the very level you want to see yourself. So thank you once again for doing this with us.
You're welcome.
It's a wet Wednesday morning, and we are here to review the newspapers. Hi, Kojo. How's the morning been for you?
Well, it's been, it's a day when you feel like, nah, this one I have to be in bed.
Look at you now. But yeah, we're doing it.
For God and country.
Exactly.
You have to be here, you know, to serve the people and make sure that together we're able to give ourselves some good start to the day. And that's why we have to be here.
That's why you're not in bed.
Oh.
Well, I mean, before we introduce our guests to you, we have these important pieces of information you should take note of, starting with our lead sponsor for the AM show, Waylead Property. So here's the question. Are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit. And you want to invest in our newest development, Willow Lane, where elegance will always meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at affordable cost and with also a flexible payment option. At Waylead, we also give you 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay a memorable one. You can call us on these numbers, 0240 111 119 or 0504 499-999. You can also visit our website at www.waylead.org for more information. So those who join us for the news review this morning, Kojo, we have Dr. Kwame Asasante, of course. He's the head of Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. And we also have Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And Dr. Pa Kwesi Eduafo Abedu, and he is a development analyst. Kojo, we have 3 academics joining us this morning. You want to bring them in?
Well, yes. Good morning to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us here. Just to test and
Good morning.
Great.
Good morning, Kojo. Good morning.
Great. Now, I have with me the Daily Guide newspaper. I have the Ghanaian Publishers Weekly. Which do you have?
I have the Daily Gist and the Accra Times.
Okay. Now, but before we get into the papers, let's come to you. As we do always, we give you maximum 2 minutes for you to tell us what issue you want to really start with, and then we get into the papers. Let's start with you, Dr. Cornelius Asante.
Kojo, good morning to you. Good morning to Sweetie and our viewers, of course, my colleagues on Zoom. Today is a very sad day for me. Sad in the sense that you and I have listened to that painful story about the exit of the medical doctor who has spent all his life saving people. But when he came to his turn, his state failed him. It is so painful. Why are we like that? Why? It's simply from me. If I look at it from where I sit, it's nothing that we have leaders who are very insensitive, leaders who are very selfish, leaders who have little or no vision for this country, and of course, very wicked leaders who will spend state resources to make themselves better and leave the ordinary man to suffer. Yet they will expect performance from people of this country. That's unfair. That's very unfair. Look at the facility that the guy required to bring him to life or save his life. We could not provide that. The cat lab. How much goes into corruption? How much goes into waste of the country's resources? And how much goes into campaign that would throw money out, money that comes from the state? I am not sure we have done justice to our departed, brother. We have not done that. And we must bow our head in shame. We need to organize ourselves very well so that people will feel a sense of belonging, that we belong to this state, and that we are prepared to die for this state. And that when the time like this comes, our state will rise up to the occasion and save us. This is not good enough. Leaders complain that we have young people who always want to leave the shores of this country to seek greener pastures elsewhere. And when they go, they don't want to return. These are some of the things. The earlier we stop it, the better. And this, I will urge Ghanaians to shine their eyes and look at leaders who will fail them and throw them out when they get opportunity to vote.
Oh, quite, thoughtful there. But I mean, since this issue broke over the weekend, were you expecting the Minister of Health, for example, to have by now said anything, or probably he's contemplating the sort of intervention that he has to come with?
I don't know whether the minister has said something.
No.
If he has not said anything, that is very unfortunate. And we'll urge him to say something. I mean, this is a time that we need to stand behind the family and support them. And then every well-meaning Ghanaian also is looking at how these things pan out. So it is not a very simple matter. It is not that you spend your life going through education, medical education, and all that, and you dedicate yourself. And this is what you get. Look, a country that does not honor its heroes, I'll tell you, people will not want to die for this country, such a country. Let us shy away from this and then do the needful so that our people will be patriotic and stand in all cases for this country.
Okay, let's bring in Dr. Abedu. Doc, you also have 2 minutes maximum to make a point on an issue you really want to make your thought head on.
Thank you very much, Kojo, and a very good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners. I'm in a similar position with Dr. Asante, but I am also coming from a very, a different perspective. Kojo, the rain season has started, and we all know what experiences that conventionally we have when it comes to the havoc that we experience in terms of rain, the thunderstorms, and all the other issues that come with the climate. Kojo, I am looking at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 10, which talk about reducing inequality. And I want to bring in this in terms of how people are suffering currently when it comes to having decent shelter, having decent livelihood, when it comes to having decent, lifestyle at this point in time where the rain is pouring. Lots of communities are being cut off because of flooding and so many other environmental problems. People are struggling to find decent shelter. People are sleeping in rains, in gutters, and so many other places that are not human. And so if we are talking about reducing inequality, bridging that gap, ensuring that people at least are having some kind of decent living, then the question is, what are we doing for these marginalized groups, for these vulnerable groups? We need to think about each other. Leadership needs to understand that everybody counts and that every life matters. And so if someone, a certain leader, or if leadership, just because of selfishness, just as Dr. Sasanti indicated, you are having so many buildings out there, dozens of buildings, hundreds of buildings, and your fellow human being cannot have access to just a roof, a structure roofed. It tells you how bad it is for some people to live in this country. It tells how bad people are living like animals in this country. And it is important that we are intentional about strategies, about interventions, about systems, which at least will put people at a certain level where they can feel comfortable to sleep, to wake up, work, come back and take care of themselves and their families. If not, then there is no point in even being a human being or saying that I have come to this world and that I need to live, because there's nothing to live for. And so at this point, Kojo, especially with the onset of the rains and all the issues that we are coming with the weather, I would just implore that we reflect, that we rethink about the way we are handling ourselves as a people, and then focus so much on the marginalized group, on the vulnerable group, so that we can at least uplift them to that level where we can say that, okay, I'm at a certain decent level. That's what I want to share this morning, Kojo.
Thank you so much. And let's hear from Dr. Jabri Mohammed now. Doc, what's on your mind?
Good morning, sweetie, and good morning to all our listeners. This morning, I want to look at the natural resources that we have just discovered. I think in recent times, there has been an announcement of discovery of a number of natural resources. We have discovered tantalum, we have discovered nickel, we have discovered lithium, and we have even discovered additional oil field. Now, all of these problems that my colleagues have enumerated can be addressed if you have the needed resources. What are we going to do to ensure that we harness all these resources? Because the new resources that we have discovered is now the new trend of the world. Tantalum will allow you to be able to get all the metals that you need to be able to produce the quality metals for iPhones and for all kinds of electronic gadgets that we use. The nickel will allow you to get the needed resources to be able to produce for e-vehicles, e-vehicles and all kinds of things that you can get out of it. Now, the question is that this is going to bring us a lot of jobs, wealth, and the new technology that we have to move on. What is Ghana going to do to ensure that we are able to harness these resources, to ensure that Ghanaians fully benefit out of it? Are we going to put in place a better fiscal regimes, a better regulatory regimes to ensure that we get the full benefit of it? Are we going to take the advantage to ensure that the companies don't just come and take the resources and create the wealth elsewhere, but we are going to use it to benefit the good people of Ghana, so that we can avoid a lot of people sleeping on the streets, so that we can ensure that we build our hospitals, we build quality roads, we build quality schools, and ensure that all the people of Ghana benefit from these natural found resources. It should not be a curse. It should be a blessing for Ghana. It should be a total transformation that we need to see in the Republic of Ghana. If not that, then it means that we are doomed as a nation. This should be an industrial revolution. This should be a revolution that can revolutionize the 24-hour economy that we are looking up to. So we now have everything that we can ensure that whatever at all we want to do as a country, we can do it. But then natural resources alone is not enough. Let's develop the quality of our human resources. It is the human resources that when we develop very well, we can fully benefit from these resources that we are discovering. Otherwise, we will discover other people will come and take it away and go and benefit their people.
But Doc, if after, all these years, we are over 60 years, right? We started mining before independence, and we've not been able to, as you say, develop the human resources we need. We know that in the mines you find a lot of Ghanaians in there, but we still have expatriates. Now, if after all these years we have not been able to develop the human resource to that level we expect, and also develop the systems, really, is there hope that we can do it now?
Well, there is a new hope because of the new things that the government is trying to do. If you see the gold board, it is a very definite and a very strategic decision that the Ghanaian government has taken. Critically, formally, you see that foreigners will come and buy the gold in that sector and take it away. But now we are saying that the government should mobilize everything and foreigners will come and buy at the world market rate, which means that there is a strive somewhere that we are doing. I'm just hoping that we are able to finance and ensure that this is expanded across all the natural resources that we have, manganese, bauxite, everything. If you look at gold from 1993 to almost 2000 and something, we only made royalties about $87 million out of it, which is very, very little. If you look at government participating rate in the gold sector, it's less than 2.something%. And formerly, government used to have significant shares in most of the mines. But now all our shares have been sold off. And we only get taxes out of it and a very little royalties out of it. So I think that we need to shape and rechange the fiscal regime where we are going to benefit more of it. If we have signed formal contracts and the contracts are expiring, let's enter into new contracts. And the new contracts should increase our royalties. The new contract should increase our participating interest. That is why we are going to get the full benefit out of it. And also, refining of these resources are very important. When you refine, that's how you create the jobs. So in as much as they are producing, if you can also expand our expanding sector of the economy, so that when they produce, we allow them to refine it in the country, then that can create a needed job. So there are so many ways that you can benefit, not even without fully participating in it, but you can benefit by also looking at other backward and forward leakages in terms of the job transmission in that sector.
I think we should, continue from where you started, because this morning one of our big stories is the Gold Board Task Force, which the president said the inauguration of that means that we can fully operationalize the Gold Board. And I want to read a story from the Accra Times. It's on page 2. The President, John Dramani Mahama, has revealed that the inauguration of the Ghana Gold Board Task Force marks a critical step in fully operationalizing the Ghana Gold Board Act. But I think what was interesting yesterday about the things he said were mainly two things. The first was the whistleblower policy, and they say that whistleblowers will now get 10% of whatever seized gold or the cash value of that, mind you, it's not just when you blow the whistle. When your information, credible information, leads to capture or seizure of these illegal minerals. And the other thing is also the mandate and structure of the task force and how it feeds into our fight against illegal small-scale mining. So, gentlemen, let's talk about this for a second. And a quote before I come to you. He says, our message is simple. Operate within the law or face the full consequences of it, he said, adding that any breach of the act could lead to a hefty fine of about 2.4 million Ghana cedis. Mind you, we are talking about over $5 billion right now in terms of the revenue we've raked in since the Gold Board, in a matter of months since the Gold Board started. So, Dr. Kwame Asante, first question is this 10% good incentive for people to actually blow the whistle on illegal gold trade? And is this task force really the key to our quest to eradicate illegal small-scale mining from the country? And of course, whether or not the money we have raked in so far is sustainable, the 5 billion that they're touting as gains made since Gold Board took over, whether it's something we can be celebrating at this point. Your take on the matter?
I am for the Gold Board. I salute officers there who are working, and I will urge them to, press on. The measures they put in place, beautiful, but we need more to strengthen. I am happy to hear on your network this morning that in addition to the whistleblower, proposal and then the mandate and the structure and all that, they are also thinking about how to reclaim the lost environment in courts. And for me, that's a critical thing. They are adding that. What I want them to do beyond this, which I've said they are all good, is to make sure that we get to the logical conclusion of this. What is it? We are not always interested in selling the raw materials. Add value. The value addition is what we need. We have sold raw gold since time immemorial, and believe that the time is now for our country to take steps to add value so that we can have what would rake in a lot of revenue, and that will give us employment. You see the large army of people who are looking for employment, they don't have them. So they are forced to go out of this country. Let us make sure that the Gold Board survives and that is able to do all the needful, and then our people get jobs. I will urge Sami Demfi and all the players there that they are doing well, but it should not get into their head, and then let them forge ahead and work more. The $5 billion we have received within a short time, for me, is very interesting. But I'm not surprised, because there was a time I engaged the head of mining at UMAT, and then he gave me statistics, and that is where my interest got heightened. And I said, wow, if we're able to organize ourselves in that direction, we are going to rake in a lot of money. Look at, we have gone to IMF $3 billion with all the conditions and all the difficulties. On our own, we've been able to put ourselves together and have $5 billion. All things being equal, if this development goes on the way it's going, by the end of the year, I have no doubt in my mind that we can rake in about 10 billion or beyond that. And then one problem with us in terms of governance is that we are able to raise revenue, but we are careless in the way we spend money. If you look at all our reports, Auditor General report and whatnot, there is always fiscal indiscipline. I want this government to be disciplined. You have introduced this. This is going to be a game changer. Please be disciplined, and then make sure that you put the money into development of the people. Let people feel it. It shouldn't be just a statement, but people should feel that the Gold Board has changed the game, and now we are feeling it in our pocket, in our lives, and all that. For me, that is all that there is to it. I support the Gold Board. I will stand for the Gold Board, but they should be able to move ahead and do a lot of things. And I want, before I end my submission, I want this thing to be emulated by CocoBot, which was also one of the resource, of this country. Today is in tatters, but I will urge Randy Abe and his team that they should take a cue from this and then rebuild the place. It can be done, and I trust that they can be able to work well. If they don't have the human resource, please, there are a lot wasting away in this country. Extend the hand, not necessarily the NDC people. Any human being in this country who has knowledge, call them to support so that we can move this country forward.
Doc, so what are you saying? That the 10%, I'm not sure if you touched on that yet, the 10% you get when you blow your whistle and your credible information leads to the seizure of illegal gold trade, meant for illegal gold trade. What do you think about that? Is that good incentive? Are we over-promising and possibly might under-deliver? 10% is a huge sum of money, and those who usually traffic or illegally sell gold, they're not talking about 1 or 2, pieces of gold. We're talking about many, many tons of gold. What do you think about that as well?
It's a good incentive. And then it's going to, I believe that all things being equal, is going to help us to what? Generate the needed resources that we want. But what is the end game? The end game is that having got all this, you have people who have blown the whistle, you've been able to what? Get all the illegal ones in there and route them to appropriate channels and all that. What is the end game? The end game is that what we receive must be put into good use. What we receive must reflect in the lives of people. What we receive will build this country. For me, that is where the emphasis is.
All right.
You can remember, this is not, the only policies that will come along the way. We will add more, but let us get to the finish line and let everybody be proud that the good board has really come and changed the game.
Dr. Abedu.
Before Dr. Abedu comes in, let's try to look. According to the president, in May alone, Gold Board exported 11 tons, of gold, valued at $1.1 billion US. And he says cumulatively, export from the small-scale sector reached 51.5 tons, valued at approximately $5 billion US. And this is just the small-scale sector. Now, what excites me is the fact that this represents 95% increase from the same period in 2024 and surpasses large-scale mining exports for the first time in the country's history. This is incredible. 95%. So it means that as of this period last year, all of these monies were going to individual companies.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Dr. Abedu, you are a development analyst. All of these monies that we are getting.
I'm happy you said wow.
Yes. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it tells you the extent of leakages that we have in our country, and not just the mining sector. Of course, now the mining sector's issues on the plate, so let's talk about it. But largely, it tells you how our revenues are leaking, how monies are leaking into individual pockets, and that is why I talked about inequality when we started the program. We need to understand that people are finding so many ways to amass wealth for themselves and not in the interest of the country. And so it's not surprising to me. Remember, last year, at the end of the year, one of the gains which were touted by the then government, the NPP government, was the fact that they were able to increase the GDP growth. And they made it categorically clear that mining sector was very instrumental in the growth gains that we made. And so it's not surprising to me, but it tells you that we could have even done more if all those unaccounted, unofficial transactions had been integrated or had been factored in the statistics that were provided. And it tells you that indeed a lot of money is going out. But really, beyond that, Kojo, I have few concerns, especially with the Good Board and the task force, for which it's not a negative motivation, but something just to encourage the Good Board, Sami Gyamfi and his team, to be very mindful and work harder in addressing the issues. Look, we are in a country where, for example, people are quite timid. People have a lot of fear. People feel they may be victimized when they blow a certain whistle. Now we are talking about people who are very influential and a certain elite class, wealthy people who are engaged in this gold trade business. And so for an ordinary person who finds that some transactions are going on in terms of illicit or illegal gold trade, to what extent would the person have that confidence to blow a whistle without any feel of fear or being victimized or anything of that sort? So we need to understand the risk surrounding encouraging people to blow whistles to get the 10% and what happens afterwards. If not, we may encourage people to blow whistles, but they may not do it. And so we need to be very mindful about that. It's not just about the money, it's not about the 10%, it's about the structure, the systems, it's about the environment with which I can have that confidence to blow the whistle in order to ensure that those illegal or illicit trade are addressed. But Kojo, the another point also is that with the monies, the figures that we are mentioning, $5 billion, all the good figures, the bigger question really is, how are the mining communities benefiting from these figures? the very communities where the gold are being extracted, how are they benefiting? What are the issues in terms of their water assets? What are the issues in terms of health? What are the issues in terms of education? Look at all the economic indicators, the development indicators, and tell us, yes, we are doing so well, we are bringing.
Well, Dr. Pedu, if you read further, it says the president also, just to help you in that point you're making, the president mentioned that the gold board is committed to ensure every gram of gold is tracked back to its verified, licensed, and environmentally compliant mine of origin, while it invests in land reclamation and ecological restoration through programs such as the Blue Water and Tree for Life. Does that answer your, curiosity about what we do in developing these communities that the minerals are coming from? Okay. I feel I could have gotten Doc, but maybe when we get him back, he'll probably answer this question for me. But let me bring in Jabril Mohammed.
Yeah.
Jabril, we are mentioning $5 billion. Good money, and that's kudos to the guys at Gold Board for this. But is it important we know out of this $5 billion how much we can declare, because we know we use money to buy the gold, how much we can declare as maybe profit that a country is making? Is it an important aspect we need to concern ourselves with?
Yeah, so Kojo, this is going to be coming from the financial statement of Gold Board at the end of the financial year. As it stands right now, maybe they can declare maybe 6 months after they have started this program and what it has read in as a result of the profit that we have made. Revenue generation alone is a power tool to let you understand that this particular revenue is coming in to have an impact on the economy.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier on, the exchange rate has a pass-through, the Gold Board resources has a pass-through effect when it comes to exchange rate mechanism. Because as we stand right now, we have noted that the cedi has appreciated significantly in the past few months.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we now have the cedi trading around 10 point something Ghana cedi per cedi per dollar, and even in the black market as much as 12 Ghana cedis. This was not the case some time back, but now we have this kind of effect. So the revenue is not just about the profit at the end of the day, but it is about the revenue that is raking in, is coming into the country. So that is something significant. Like others said, even the announcement alone tells people that we have enough dollars in the economy. And it is a signal to tell you that when people want to speculate in terms of the currency, it's going to help to tame down the speculatory aspect of the currency fluctuation that we have been seeing in the country over the years. So that is a bold decision. Now, to the other issues that we spoke about, and the issue of the whistleblowing effect and all of that. The whistleblowing is good, but the people that you are giving the money to, you need to ensure that the money is properly utilized. What are they going to be using the money for? Are you going to tell them the direction at which the money will be utilized, or you are just giving them the money? And they too, they will also begin to mobilize capital and go into illegal mining or what? So I think that, well, 10% may be too much. Maybe 5% would have been good. But if they find out that the 10% is more incentive enough, then that is it. But they should also be looking at the way and manner in which these people will utilize that money that comes to them. So, and the task force, is it that we cannot get, is it that the nation's security forces are not doing enough work? Or are they too corrupt that they have to form a new task force to ensure that that thing works out? Can't we use the existing security services to do that? Is it that these new task force are going to be trained and are just going to be for Gold Board, or what at all are they coming to do? I think that whatever they have to come and do, we need to see their clear mandate so that when they come, they will not be going astray. You know, some people will end up, within a short time being more corrupt
Okay, let's move on to the Daily Guide newspaper. On the front page, it says, NPP goes to court over Blakuma North rerun. Baumia Parliament mourn late Akwatia MP. CJ suspension, Justice Tokonu goes to ECOWAS court. And EMP Azuma Gold Resources, the inside story. But let's look at the Chief Justice going to the ECOWAS court. Maybe, Dr. Asante, I would want to start with you. Is there any end in sight, really, to this particular matter?
I think that our CJ decided to explore all the resources, the structures here. So he went to Supreme Court on normal times. If now you want to move to ECOWAS court, no problem. These things are going to be heard, and then decisions will be arrived at. For me, once you are the appropriate forum, which is the court, at the end of the day, judgment will come out or a verdict will come out, and that will, streamline frontiers of our judiciary and then our judicial system, and then of course our democracy. I have no problem if an individual has a concern and you want to use the courts to address them. That should be the way to go. That is what democracy requires. Remember, democracy hinges on what? Rule of law. Rule of law. And rule of law has two components: equality before the law and due process. So we are going to experience that. MPP going to court over the Blakuma North issue. I think it's appropriate for the party to go to court. If we look at the fact that a lot of things have, changed, then it is important that the party heads for the courts. If you look at it from the point of view of that, the courts in January, the High Court directed that there should be what? Collation and declaration. And now EC is taking a different position. Then of course, the court comes in for us to know whether their decision is appropriate or not. So I don't have a problem with that. I know and I believe in the court, that the court will speak and all of us will obey.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Dr. Abedu, your thought on this, the two issues if you would also want to touch on.
Yeah, Kojo, but if you can kindly permit me, I wanted to just finish at a point because of mine.
Yeah, we did lose you, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, very well. So I just wanted to make a quick remark on the gold board and the tax force. Kojo, the only thing I want to say is that, you see, compare gold to cocoa. We are in a country where people are able to smuggle a whole bag and bags of cocoa. Just imagine the quantity of bag, just a full size, where someone is able to transit it to another country illegally, to the neighboring countries illegally. And we are living with this situation. Compare this bag of cocoa to a relatively smaller size unit like gold, it tells you how difficult it is for the gold board, or how it's going to be difficult for them to really enforce this situation of illegal gold trade. And so I will urge them to be very, very strategic and ensure that people are able to do that, because as they are now thinking about curtailing these illegal gold transactions, the actors themselves are also going to be strategic. They are going to really strategize to see how they can have their way through. But for me, if you are talking about gold, which is very small, and then looking at cocoa, I'm comparing it because they're almost the same situation, and we are still experiencing that. It means that if we don't find a different strategy, a very robust strategy, we will struggle to really control illegal gold trade. So that's a little I want to admonish Sammy James and his team to be very, to very mindful. But then we are very, I'm very happy also about the fact that they are integrating environmental management systems in their operations. For us, that has always been our concern, because if we mine, always getting the good, and we don't manage the environmental aspect very well, then it is not sustainable. It is not sustainable development. So there's a little I want to add. They should be more focused. They should be very intentional about the environmental component of whatever activities they are doing, so that we have a more complete and sustainable approach in terms of getting the best out of our good resources we have in the country.
All right.
On the matter of the removal of the Chief Justice and her seeking redress at the ECOWAS court, I know that this has become a political conversation and a legal one, but it looks like the petition she filed at the ECOWAS court mirrors what she did at Ghana Supreme Court and Human Rights Court. She says that she's challenging the processes for a removal, and she's calling it a sort of de facto removal from her office. Those who say we shouldn't make a ceremony out of it because it's just a legal process that is unfolding, have questions and concerns about going to the ECOWAS court and how it looks for our democracy or democratic development of this country. And those who say that she has every right to fight this on also have an argument to make. I want to know what you make of it.
The Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, or the suspended Chief Justice.
Suspended. She's not former yet.
Suspended Chief Justice has every right to, she has every right to go to court at any level at all, as far as she believes that she has an issue. As far as she believes in the processes and as far as the processes are going to work, I see nothing wrong with that. For me, I just want to caution the whole, those who are advocating or who are supporting her to be very mindful. I don't want this whole thing to draw to that tangent of certain kind of political mobilization, where a certain group of people will now align to her interest or to her pursuit.
Are we not there yet? Are we not there already? Isn't that where we are right now?
That is where I have a problem, because then when we get to that tangent, it's amongst the beauty of democracy. It's amongst the beauty of allowing our institutions to work, and then it becomes something else. And you see, when it goes to that tangent, what it means now is that almost every institution, almost every appointee, almost every, all the structures don't have the.
I think he's frozen again. Oh, I really wanted to hear the crux of your argument.
Anyway.
Make your point.
It is not going to help us in any way. And so I will urge people who are trying to take political advantage of this to be very careful and mindful, and know that if we allow the institutions to work, if we allow the court to take its pace and judgment is given fairly, I think it will help us understand our democratic processes and the structure that we have, so that it will.
Okay, let me go to Dr. Mohammed now, give you time to reconnect and then sort out your internet connection. So, Dr. Mohammed, your take on this matter. It's a political and legally, the stakes are high. But this is where we are now. She's left the jurisdiction of Ghana seeking redress at the ECOWAS court. For me, it marks a dramatic escalation. It means that she can't find what she's looking for here. But the arguments are ever divided down to the bottom. What do you say?
She's undergoing even a trial in Ghana, let me put it that way, because she has been subjected to a committee to investigate her. before a final judgment is being heard in the law court. Here is a case, she's not finding her way around the committee. If you remember recently, she came out to make a whole tall list of presentation concerning her activities and concerning what is happening to her, etc. So she's not having hope that she's going to find justice in Ghana. And that is how come that she's escalating the matter out of the country so that she can find justice elsewhere. I mean, she has a right, she's a Ghanaian, the due process must be followed, etc. So I don't see anything wrong with what she wants to do. So she can go ahead, go wherever she wants to go. I believe that the laws are there, and the laws of Ghana is going to guide them in their decision making. They cannot just make the decision, because this is not a human rights problem. It is a problem of justice that you are facing in your country. And you believe that you are not going to have a fair hearing in the country because you think that the court is all against you. But you once used the same court against others. So why don't you stay in the country and face the same law? Why are you running to elsewhere? So she should just go. If she's able to find justice there, that's fine. If they also judge against her, she should accept it and have it. Even in Ghana, you have not found the final justice. So why are you running away? You should have found the final justice in Ghana here. Then if it is not favorable, then you can make an appeal elsewhere.
Well, that might be too late, considering that, I mean, let me give you another angle here. Those who argue that one party removed the head of the EC, I think that argument is flawed because the Chief Justice is the head of one whole arm of government. The EC is just a part of the executive. If she waits till the committee decide that she really has to be removed, then in what capacity is she going to seek redress? She has been removed, no?
Okay, so, well, I'm not a lawyer, but the fact of the matter is that is my candid opinion, that at least she should have received a judgment here, because more often than not, you receive a judgment before you make an appeal elsewhere. Is that not correct? So why is that?
No, sometimes it doesn't happen so. When you feel that you're not satisfied with the processes locally, then you go to ECOWAS. Okay. You don't wait till the processes are exhausted.
The judgment to pass. Okay, that's fine. So she has a right, as I said earlier on, she has a right to move to anywhere at all she wants to go for justice. If she feels that she's not finding justice in Ghana, she can find the justice elsewhere. So at the end of the day, if both the case in Ghana and that of abroad is not judged in her favor, then she will know that, yes, she indeed faulted. But if one is judged in her favor and the other one is not judged in her favor, what is she going to do next? That's the question that I'm just asking. If she's going to escalate it to the global space, or what is she going to do?
Yeah.
So we should have that at the back of our mind. Now, on the issue of the EC and the MPP and the declaration of the results, etc., I think part of, is it Abloukmanov that they banned a particular, what do you call it, a coalition center or something like that? Was it not the same?
Well, there are a number of coalition centers that was marred with violence. One of them was Abloukmanov. That's why they couldn't conclude the coalition, I think, yeah.
So exactly so. So if it was marred with violence and you don't have the ballot papers, how are you going to count? What are you going to be counting? Is it that you are going to set aside and disenfranchise those group of people and make a declaration in favor of those that you have?
No, what the issue is, the individual polling stations, they finished their counting. It was the collation of the polling stations that is where the issue happened. So individual polling stations have records. That's why the EC collated and left three polling stations that were outstanding.
Okay, so 3 polling stations is negligible. And for that matter, you can still go ahead to declare a result. If just, even in the presidential election, sometimes even some constituencies, they will add up and tell you that even if they add everything to one candidate, at the end of the day, that candidate will still lose the election. And they'll go ahead to what? Declare the results. So let's look at the data that we have currently. We have the data for all the polling stations. But then, is everybody going to accept the results because others were already destroyed? If they are disputing the figures, how do they do recounting? So for me, I even think that they are saying they have to to rerun 19 polling stations. 19 polling stations. If that all the other polling stations data is available and the ballot papers are available for a recount, that is fair enough. But if you cannot have access to all these data sources, then the whole result should be quashed and they should go and rerun another election for them so that we can have a fair game. Both parties can have a win-win situation. Otherwise, we'll continue to have a problem. You can go to court and the other people will also go to court. So if the data is not accurate, that's where the lacuna is. We can just cancel the whole thing, then go back and do a fresh election for them. As of now, they don't have any representation in parliament, and we are in the 6th month, and this is very bad.
Let me bring in one story, which I think is of much interest to the Ghanaian people, Kojo. Ghana abstained from the UN vote on LGBTQ+ rights. So this happened on July 7th during the 59th session of the UNHRC in Geneva. And 29 member states voted in favor, 15 voted against, and 3 countries, including Ghana, abstained. So, I mean, they went ahead to renew the mandate, and that mandate calls on every UN member state to protect, respect, and fulfill the rights of persons with diverse sexual orientations and gender identities, including taking action against violence, discrimination, and stigmatization. The question is, why are we undecided yet whether or not we want to vote for this or against this? Gentlemen, let's hear your thoughts on this. Dr. Kwame Asasante, let me start with you.
Oh, I am not surprised because you see, the international community is a chaotic one. That any decision you take, it has its own positive and negative effects. So countries are careful when they are taking a decision of this nature. More so when we are talking about a controversial subject like this, where at home, moral arguments are very high, very strong against it. And then within the global space, opinions are divided. If we're a country and you want to tread cautiously, you want to have that common ground of being what? A neutral within here. But it also speaks volume of the fact that, is it the case that, or is it the same position that you espouse during campaign, that you are, you have not decided on the matter, all right? It gives you an idea that the regime, the government is not clear in its mind as to the direction you want to go. Because if you are clear, you come out. But remember, during the campaign, some of the religious groups forced the leadership of the political parties to come out with their position on the matter. And they were all clear that, look, we are not interested in LGBTQ. We are so and so, we are Christians, we are Muslims and all that. So why the change at the, the UN? That is where the question is. But that is what it is, because within the international community, things you can say at home, you can get away with. But within the international sphere, it's a different ball game order altogether, because there are a lot of bullies within the system that if you don't think carefully and you take a step, that step can bring you down. It's a very controversial matter.
Doc,
and all that.
I mean, coming from a few weeks ago where we saw those South African men displaying public affection for, both among themselves at the Black Star Square, and how Ghanaians poured out their frustration and vehement disapproval for that. I thought that it sort of took us back to that conversation where we'd established clearly that we were against that. So if we're abstaining, for me, it just brings back the question of, do we really want to conclude on this matter? We still have that bill pending, whether or not, well, I think Sam George was saying that they were going to table it to the president again because they had reintroduced it to parliament and so on and so forth. Why are we, pussyfooting around this? That's the question I'm asking,
Yeah, the question you are asking is a legitimate one, but the legitimate answer is that within the international sphere, you are talking about bullies within the system. You go on this route, support or kicking against this, you are going to be denying some funding from the system. You are going to be punished in a certain way. So countries are so careful on such matters because you recall Christians traditional people, almost everybody was saying that abandon that path. Let's stay away from LGBTQ plus and the stories around them because we don't like that. But you recall, some states decided to threaten us with what funding and all that. And now your leaders are looking sharp. That is it. But you see, it brings us to the big question as to are we sovereign enough to be able to put our foot down and say that this is what we believe in. But if you are financially incapable, if you are not, financially sovereign, you always pander to things of this nature at the expense of your morality, your culture, and everything. And when you come back home, you have no answer to give. So I always believe.
Doc, doesn't it question the intention then behind the passage of that law? Because that law really speaks against this, which means that is your state. So, that's your position on the matter. So when it comes to voting, you go with your law. Is that not so?
Well, it's not a law yet, could you? I mean, it's a bill.
Yes, it's just because the president has not assented.
Well.
But Parliament passed it, which means that as a state, that is our position. So if it comes to international voting and we are not able to state clearly where we stand, then of course, is there any need for us to legislate against that practice in the country?
That is why the conversation is interesting. Why is that back home, you have all pledged your support against the bill, but at the international fora or forum, you shy away from the same position, double position, and here you are. But I am also explaining the politics of it, that there you can't take a decision and get away with. No, people will pin you to it. And that is why when this conversation started, and I said the state must reflect very well, and then you take a decision. You can have all the emotions, you can have all the feelings that you can master and gather for this exercise, but think of the global picture also. So at the end of the day, when you take a decision, you take it once and for all. Otherwise, the hawks are in there within the international space. They will skin you alive.
Dr. Abedu, so, I mean, that means as a country, as sovereign as we are, do you think it's likely that we can really take a stand on this LGBTQI+, and even go ahead with our legislation prohibiting the practice of same in the country?
Kojo, it's very interesting because we are a sovereign state within a certain global system. And so when it comes to issues of international treaties and decision-making, national sovereignty as against the global dynamics play a very dicey role in terms of decision-making by the state. And so it's very interesting, especially looking at the development that we've had for the past few years, Sam George and his team and all the issues that have been coming up. But really, I agree with Dr. Asante. Look, we cannot just say go wholesale to say that just because we have been advocating for this bill to be passed and that Ghanaians do not accept LGBT and all the other issues, we should just go out there and then vote yes or vote no. This is a country, where our budget support or our budget is almost always supported by external funding. Our investments and all the GDP, all the things that we are doing in this country, if the foreign or the external partners do not come in, we don't seem to make any strides. Now, ask yourself, what are the interests of these external partners? What do they want? What are their principles? What are their standards? And so as far as we are relying on them, expect that they will manipulate the system through their standards, their interests, and their values. And so you have to be very careful when you are voting on such issues. So I'm not surprised at all. I share the same position with Dr. Asante when it comes to, with regards to what we have done. Look, it's also a way of expressing your view, even if you don't vote. Now, what it simply means is that as a country, we are joining the other countries who believe that we need to really look at what the topic in itself and how we can really look at it in terms of what does it bring to the people, to the world, what does it bring to the respective countries. And so sometimes just abstaining from the voting itself is a way of expressing your view. It's a way of expressing your stance in terms of the very topic at hand and what it implies for the whole world or for the globe and for your country. And so we don't have to make it look as if the fact that we abstain from voting means we are confused. It's still a way of making a statement out there. It tells you that probably there's a certain flawed system when it comes to LGBT discussions. It tells you that we feel there are.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to land on the point that, it's a nuanced conversation and we are not ready to openly. I mean, within the jurisdiction, we know what we want.
But clearly show that the
yeah.
country is scared of taking a decision on it, even
well,
though,
it's more political than we like to admit.
I get it, but
and there's discomfort.
But the fact is that locally or within your own country, you are trying to legislate against the practice. You've done it. It's just that the president has not assented to it. And then you go to represent the same country, which is backed by that particular, if the president had assented to it, that law, you go to the international space. Geopolitics, I understand. But the people who are voting against it, don't they also have their own, decisions about it? Once you back home, you want to legislate against it. Then when you go to the international platform, you need to show them that I believe in my own, I understand the whole thing about resources and the impact of it. Yeah. So are we saying that there are countries around the world, there are no countries around the world, who don't also say, because Ghana has stood firm against the practice and people are withdrawing their resources, would also come in to back them with it? Well, anyway.
Well, to be fair, there were 3 countries that abstained. 29 voted in favor, 15 voted against. And I think I'm tempted to agree with Dr. Baidu that the silence or the neutrality, the no vote, in itself, it stands on the matter.
Get it. That silence is also, silence means you're also communicating.
Yeah.
But the question I'm asking is, in our parliament, our members of parliament enacted a law and passed it. Our only takeaway is that the president.
I hear Dr. Baidu is back. I want you to finish your thoughts for us, Doc. Dr. Baidu.
You see, do we have the balls to do this? Let's be honest with ourselves. Look, proud to President John Mahama and the NDC government coming to power. We all know the energy, the zeal, what Sam George exerted in promoting this bill. What has happened today? You see, at that point when he was in the opposition, he found that comfort to press with the NPP, press on the NPP government to pass the bill, because whatever consequences that could have come at that time, he is in opposition and he wouldn't have cared so much. But the government then knew the implication it would have had on the economy if they had gone on to pass the bill and all the related content. So same way comes here. Let's Sam George push this agenda. Let's see the energy now. Compare it. What is he doing now? Because he is in government and he knows that if you push this bill for it to be passed, there are lots of disadvantages that will come.
I don't think his stance has changed, Dr. Baidu. Recently, when he spoke on his Facebook, he mentioned that they were still going to accelerate. Go ahead.
It hasn't changed. It's about the energy. It's about the energy that he's exerting now. It's about how committed he is now. I mean, it has changed. Just do the comparison. But the broader picture is that you see, within his values, within his personal standards, and of course, all the like-minded MPs and advocates, Ghanaians wished that this bill had passed or has been passed, and that LGBT is not an issue to be discussed, a positive issue in Ghana. But they also know that the moment this is done, the international community, the negative effect will be dire.
All right.
We are talking about a country which your economic sovereignty is so questioned. You know it.
Okay.
Look at our budget currently. How much are we getting from the external?
Dr. Baidu, thank you. Let's hear our doctor.
Just find time and compare the countries which voted for yes and those who voted for no. Compare the economic status, compare everything. And you know how it's skewed. Those who voted for yes skew in favor or they have the resources, the well-developed countries. They are the countries which are dictating the pace, and most of them are going for the yes. So we need to be very careful here, and not to make conclusions which will be difficult for governments to accept.
Anyway, so my then conclusion is that there was no need for us to enact a law on.
Well, let's hear out Dr. Mohammed on this.
Dr. Jabril is here. Doc, let's have your viewpoint on this.
Well, the conversation is getting more interesting, and I'm happy that everybody is taking a particular tangent. Have we decided as a country? We are an undecided country because even the law that we pass has not been assented. And if you don't assent the law, it doesn't become a law. It is just a book of a list of activities that we wanted to do. Parliamentarians have said they want to do it, but you give the executive president the power to tell you that the law has now been made a proper law for the good people of Ghana to follow. So if your law is undecided in your own country, you can't go elsewhere and make a decision.
Okay.
And that is how come that the country has taken the undecided position.
Okay.
Because in the country, you have not yet decided. If vehemently the law was even pushed through in Parliament in a particular way, if you remember the controversy surrounding the passage of the law, you will know that others were in favor and others were not. But, majority carried the day.
Yeah.
And the president then says that I'm not assenting to the law. Even though there were other laws that came in, then he signed them quickly. But this one says he's not signing it. And if anything at all, the campaign promises and everything, by this time that they are in power with supermajority in Parliament, they would have assented the signature on the law, which by this time we will have made a decision on it, which means that if the president has signed it by now, as they were promising the religious leaders, etc., by this time we will have had our own decision in the country. And by so doing, we will have voted no. But so long as the president also has not signed the law, it means that he is also not in favor of the law, or he's also undecided. And for that matter, a decision cannot be made in the international realm.
Okay.
Also remember that there's something called the strength of the minority, not the strength of the majority, the strength of the minority. The LGBTQ plus community are a minority, but they have a lot of strength. They have political strength, they have economic strength, they have geopolitical strength, etc. So if you joke and they enlist their strength on you, you are going to have problem. The global financial architecture, they control it. So these are the things that we are looking at. So remaining as an undecided country, it is the best position now until the final position is taken in your own country. I know that it is not a good practice. As a Muslim, I will not go in for that. I will vote 100% against LGBT. I will not be in favor of it, to be honest with you. But you have to note that development emanates from the values of the people. Development emanates from the value of the people.
Right.
If you don't believe in your values, you cannot develop as a country. So we have to believe in our values. So the political class should take a drastic decision on it. Now, NDC is in Parliament, they have the majority. They push the law. Their MP push the law, their members of Parliament push the law.
Right.
It is time to walk the talk.
Okay.
So let's walk the talk and make sure that we pass it. We have passed the law. The president should sign on the law.
All right.
If he signs the law, we have made a decision across the world. We have told the world that this is our position. But as soon as he has not signed the law, we cannot make a decision in the global geopolitical architecture.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kojo, should we do the US
Yes.
ban?
Let's end it there. We'll give them 2 minutes each to do this. Now, in 2024, we are now being told that the US currently has updated its visa policy for Ghana. And now, if you are given B1, B2, your entry will be just once, and you have the visa validity period is for 3 months. So you cannot do twice entry. You would only have to do once. Now, in 2024, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, we understand, received approximately 61,000 student visa applications, but approved only 25,000, resulting in 36,000 refusals. With data showing that around 21% of Ghanaian students overstaying their visas, it suggests that about 5,040 students did not return home last year. They say each F1 visa application cost $185, along with service fee of $350, bringing the total cost of our applicant to $535 per applicant. Based on the 36,000 visa refusals, the embassy generated an estimated amount of $19.26 million from unsuccessful applicant in 2024. Now, your student, a lot of them will be applying to study in the U.S. What do you think this, what impact will this have on the student in the 2025-2026 academic year? Dr. Santi, let me start with you. You have two minutes on this.
Yes, I think you can't force any state to take a decision you want.
Yeah.
Countries take decisions based on what they believe in. You either obey their rules or you stay out. Right. So you can't do much. And the state decides that at a point in time, I want to accept only a handful of people in. What do you do? But we must also tell our students that they should be honest. That when you said you were going to school, and for this period, when you are done, come back home and come and rebuild. That culture must be sold in them. I had opportunity when I was a reporter to interview the ex-president of Botswana. And then he told me that, I said, you have developed so well. If you look at the African continent, Botswana is making a lot of progress. And what's the secret? He said, yes, we give scholarships to our students. They went to study abroad and they came back to build their state. I will urge students that if you get opportunity to go, fine. But here too, you can build capacity and then also help to build our society. Sometimes we think that going out there is all there is that you need. It is true that they have the best of a lot of things that we need in the educational system. But if you don't have the opportunity, home sweet home. I have done my first degree, master's, PhD, diploma, another master in Ghana. And I believe that I'm contributing to the development of this country.
You absolutely are.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
All my degrees, everything, Ghana.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean that if you have opportunity to study elsewhere, you don't have to go. Fine.
All right.
But when you do, please, when the time comes for you to return and come and help build Ghana. When we build our society, we will not be worried about country's visa conditions and all that because we are comfortable here.
Yeah.
And that thing should not elude our minds.
Okay.
That states are building their countries and we should take steps. And scholars who have gone out there will have to come back home and build. We are looking forward to that. And that's it. I think I will leave you and go and teach.
Sure, exactly. Let's bring in Dr. Abedu here. Thank you so much, Dr. Santi. Dr. Abedu.
Very well. My first point is that, look, if you don't want to enjoy, build your capacity in the country or within the country, and you are struggling with the visa, look, with virtual options, you can still build your capacity through that platform. And so it's not always about trooping in, queuing for visa and going to the US or the Western countries. That's my first point. But the most important thing is that, just as Dr. Santi has indicated, we can build our capacity in the country. There are so many good universities in Ghana. People are traveling from other countries to come to Ghana and study. And so why not? We can do it here. But you see, the most important thing is that, look, there's a bigger issue with migration. It's a bigger issue with our migration policy or migration system in Ghana. It's a bigger issue.
Cape Coast Network hasn't been to Dr. Abedu this morning.
Not at all. Dr. Mohammed, perhaps you can come in for us because we should be wrapping up in a couple of minutes. Yeah. So, Dr. Mohammed, what do you make of this? Should we find a way to rechannel that money back into our revenue generation, efforts in Ghana? What do you say?
Well, it's important because sometimes we are even paying a lot of money to go out there to study, which means that, as earlier on stated, we have very good institutions in Ghana. I personally hadn't studied anywhere in the world. I've done all my programs in Ghana here. I did my from the year 2000 to 2020, when I started school till I completed. I've had my primary school up to my PhD level, all in Ghana. I haven't gone anywhere. And I believe that, as my former lecturer said, I'm also contributing my small way to the development of the nation. So I think that we should be more focused as a country. We should have strategy. What are some of the courses that they go out there to study? Can we mount similar courses in Ghana? What are the incentives that is driving them to go out there to study? We have to look at all these things. And I believe that with the coming into effect of the 24-hour economy, we can reshape the country, we can build the country. When you go out there, you don't have to go and stay. When you go out there, it's very stressful. I've been to some other countries, and I've seen how people go there to struggle, and they came back. I mean, we all learned here, and I mean, as a university professor, I go out there, I go to do presentations elsewhere, I go to UK, I go to other countries to go and do, to go and do conferences and all of that. So I think that we have to note that when you go out there to study, come back to your country to develop your country, like Botswana has done, like many other African countries have done, like many other European countries have done. When you go out there to study, it is good. So the 3 months, I believe, it is the best decision. And also a decision that when you go and you are done with your study, you have to come back. If you come back and you want to find ways and means of going back, that is up to you. But you don't have to study and you want to continue to stay over there. Why do you think we have to pay? I'll get small money to pay, then you go there and you don't want to come back. You should, and I mean, the Get Fund and other people who also finance them should also be strict on they coming back. And what contribution are they coming to be given if they have to be given the scholarship? So these are the things we have to look at.
Yes, thank you. Let me try and give the last word to Dr. Beidou, if he's still with us. Dr. Beidou, you want to complete your trail of thoughts? I don't think we have him on yet. Unfortunately, that's our time for the news review segment. And Kojo,
anyway,
let's wrap it up.
I think that as we call on the student to, yes, it's important when you go, you have to come back home. Because the skills you go and acquire, we need you here. But there's also a fundamental thing we need to do as a state. We need to fix the basics. We started with a doctor who has lost his life. How many doctors who train in Russia or US leave that, the well-established health system there and come back to it? All of these things we need to work on as a state to give hope to our people that you need to stay. For example, I have not applied for any visa before because really, I don't even dream of living anywhere apart from Ghana. Yeah, but there are other people who want to go. But if you want to go through the right means. If you are given an admission, go and study and come back. And like Dr. Jibril said, apply and go. But the government, the state, needs to make sure people have the incentive, the love to stay here and work. Anyway, let me wish a happy belated birthday to Sean Obed Mensah of CBG. That's coming from my brother Cedric Kwamena Bray. So Cedric says to you, Sean, may the Almighty God bless you and enlarge your territory. Sean Obed Mensah of CBG.
Another dedication going out to Reverend Father Chike. Happy 9th anniversary. May God bless your generous heart, hospitality, and passion for young people. We appreciate all you do for the congregation, for the region, and young people. May you experience more blessings and fulfillment in your call. God bless you from the Ghana Niger group. This is coming from Loretta to you. Happy birthday, happy 9th anniversary, Reverend Father Chike. And that's how we're wrapping up for the news review segment. When we return from that breather, we get into our big stories. Please stay. And this is the big story segment on the AM show. Let's take a look at the industry, how we're doing. So gold trade is poised to change the face of Ghana's international trade as small-scale and artisanal mining hit $5 billion in export value in months. But we're asking, can we keep this trajectory in a sector fraught with locally, existential, and internationally vulnerable challenges? And also, how do we harness this advantage in our quest to industrialize for accelerated development? Let's go first to our lead research and data analyst, Isaac Kofieje, on exactly what's happening to our gold trade. And then we'll come back in studio to introduce our guest to you and the discussion will flow. So Isaac Kofieje, take us away.
Good morning, Sweetie, and it's good to be here. I mean, it is interesting to note the kind of transformation the Ghanaian economy is going through. We've actually transitioned from one point to the other, where some few years ago, this was an economy that was backed by inflows from cocoa. cocoa predominantly has been the backbone of the economy. Then, in about 8 years ago, we saw the drift from commodity-backed economy where we were backing the economy with inflows from the Eurobonds, right? So you go to the international capital market to go and borrow on average between $2 to $3 billion every year to possibly show up your budget and also to stabilize your economy. But what we are learning and the current shift we are seeing is that the current government wants to move away from that sort of system where you possibly will get money from the Eurobond market to back the economy to an economy that is backed by gold. And gold here, we are not just talking about the traditional export numbers that we know where on average we export about $11.6 billion dollars. That was in 2024. Government has actually looked at this figure and they know that if you look at the component of this close to $12 billion that comes as a result of gold exports, it's just about 15% that stays with the, or is actually surrounded to the Bank of Ghana to support Forex. And so you have in 2024 where we exported close to about $12 billion of gold. But in that period, you have Bank of Ghana getting less than $2 billion of that 11.6 billion to support the city. So government thought through and said that, well, if we can look at the small scale sector, which they project has an inflow of about $12 billion in 2025, that's the average, we could be cashing in on that and we could be building the economy with that, because gold is now, it's still a precious mineral and it's trading very high on the international space. And if we produce more in Africa, and even when it comes to the global conversation, we are part of that, then why don't we take advantage of it? And so government is targeting inflows from the small scale sector, which they believe this year could bring in about 12 billion US dollars. That's about $1 billion every month. And so I was not shocked when the president actually revealed that we've been able to rake in about 5 billion, because we've been doing the gold board thing for, let's say, close to about 6 or 5 months. And so if you are getting 5 billion, then it sits within the kind of projection that government did that, well, if we're able to do this and do this well, we could be getting about 12 billion and $1 billion almost every month. And apart from what we saw when Israel decided to, when we saw the Israel Iran war that led to both crude prices and gold prices all going down, because people were now looking at the dollar as a store of value. It was that period that there was a bit of panic whether we could go ahead to build an economy that is backed by gold. But another leg of the conversation is that, well, gold is good when you get the inflows. That's perfect. You can use it to show up the city. And many have said that the kind of appreciation we have seen the city go against the dollar, more than 30% in appreciation, and is currently the best performing currency against the dollar, it's predominantly because of gold. But you also need to ask the question, what is the opportunity cost? What are we foregoing to actually get this gold that is currently backing the economy? Have we started talking about, the environmental factors? Have we started talking about galamsey activities? How are we having those conversations? It's not just about getting the inflows. It's not just about, talking about how much gold is bringing, but also the associated environmental challenges. That is the new leg that people are actually looking at the whole gold board initiative and said that this is a brilliant policy. But if you are definitely targeting small scale miners, in fact, we know how gold from illegal mining finds its way into such a system. And so how do you block those loopholes? But the good news is that the president has given an indication. The first data we got was somewhere, June, when the government said that when they traded in the full month of June, they got about $1.7 billion from the gold board. Now that we've seen a total figure of 5 billion, US dollars. And this is really helping the cedi stays stable against major trading currencies.
Thank you, Isaac Kofi-Adjei, for giving us those diverse perspectives to set the conversation in motion. And so our guest in studio joining us this morning is a legislator for New Drabin South and the ranking member on the Trade and Industry Committee in Parliament. We have with us this morning Mr. Michael Befi-Ochre. Thank you so much.
The former Deputy Minister of Trade also. Yes.
Well, currently he's a ranking member on the Trade and Industry Committee.
That he's
right.
been at that ministry before. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, my sister. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thanks for coming.
Pleasure.
Let's start with the gold board, really.
Yeah.
You hear the statuses about, the gold board, the one Kofi-Adjei shared, what is captured in the papers. That's a game changer, not so.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to extend my felicitations to you and your cherished viewers this morning and your producers. As a matter of fact, I believe that has been the game changer for us. I mean, since almost 2 years ago when the policy took off. I mean, talking about this gold, the principle of trying to use gold to save the currency. And I guess it has been the game changer as of now. The numbers clearly speak to it, and we are so fortunate to have a system like that now. And the only problem we all anticipate is the fact that governments should have the discipline to be able to, continue, and also the discipline also to check the other disadvantages that also are associated with this gold, whatever policy that we are working on.
But this looks different from what...
No, because it started then. I'm talking about the principle of thinking that this can be a game changer for us. At first, our efforts were all targeted at trying to get more money from outside. Through loans, either short-term loans, to save the currency. But then there was a situation or a time that a government decided to now shift the paradigm, move away from always thinking of using money. But now let us use a different approach. The policy of good for oil. That was the beginning point. That's the starting point. Because we started very well, and this government too, as of now, has done better. They've not achieved what we expect them to do. Note that the emphasis is on artisanal, gold mining, which has got a lot of disadvantages. Your researcher was talking about it, and clearly everybody will be happy and also somehow be a little worried about the fact that if you don't take care, it will also create a lot of problems for us, the country. Government came in with a conviction of trying not to allow Galamsey to thrive. But now they are also getting more from that area.
No, it's not.
No,
small scale miners, licensed small scale miners.
We are not kids. We are in this country. We are not small boys. That is not to say that I am against what is happening. We are happy. The mere fact that I'm working for the opposition party, working as a former minister, and then currently as a ranking member, doesn't mean that I should speak against anything that is good coming from this government. I'll always support them. But the fact also remains that nobody can give us 100% assurance that they are getting all this from community mining, which is legitimate mining. But a lot is coming from Galamsey. That's a fact.
Really?
But the way the gold board is structured, are you saying that it is possible that the government is buying gold from illegal miners?
But you know the aggregators and the buyers of gold who sometimes are given money by the gold board to purchase gold. It are not given specific areas to buy gold. You have to take note of that. They have not been given specific areas that get gold from this area. They are supposed to buy gold from the system, targeting, those doing community mining. But a lot, I can tell you, and I believe you all know, that a lot is also coming from Galamsey.
Not just the community miners, but the licensed small scale.
Yes, but the licensed small scale miners are also doing something similar to the community mining activity. The only difference is that these people are also licensed to also do the trade. But the difference between that and those doing Galamsey, that the Galamseyers are not given license, have not been given license to operate, but they are still operating, and government is still getting their gold.
Where is the evidence to support this claim?
I don't need to.
I mean, you are on national television, so the onus falls on us to probe where you get this.
But,
because as far as we are, isn't that said yesterday, when the president was speaking, he was emphatic about how they will not acquiesce to the demands and caprices or whatever of those illegal miners in terms of trading illegal gotten gold. So where are you inferring this from?
But you know for a fact, you as a broadcast journalist know for a fact that the president once upon a time said that whilst we want to help our economy, whilst we want to help our currency, there's a need for also to look at the other things that we have to forgo. I don't know whether when he met the clergy, he was discussing these issues with them, and he said that, I am not by this saying that the president has endorsed Galamsey, but the fact of the matter is that, see, we are talking about the reality. I'm not just conjecturing. I'm just talking about the reality. The reality that because coming for this program, I mean, I cannot just stand up and come. I have to do a lot of work.
Research, yeah.
So doing a lot of work, as a matter of fact, you do a lot of work, and as late as 1:30 a.m., I mean, God is my witness, I was sitting with somebody who is in this business of trade. As early as 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m., I mean, discussing these issues and wanted to understand certain, and the person was telling me about these things. I mean, we cannot go out to mention their names. We cannot go out to tell you, look, but the reality is, as I said, you know, those who buy gold for the gold board are categorized. I hope you know that. Mm-hmm. We have the first tier, we have the tier 2, then we have the aggregators.
Yes.
Now, most of them are given money by the gold board for the purchases. And then they have to now come and sell it to the gold board. Yes. But the point I'm making to you is that gold board will not tell you, if you get Galamsey gold, don't buy. They will not tell you that.
But the president seemed to have a response to that when he said, Gold Board is committed to ensuring that every gram of gold is tracked back to its verified, licensed, and environmentally compliant mine of origin, while it invests in land reclamation and ecological restoration through programs such as Blue Water and the Tree for Life.
So I'm telling you, for a fact, you can also tax or commission your researcher to do this for you. I mean, for education's sake. I mean, to find out whether what I'm saying is true or not. That if there hasn't been any situation or time where gold board, aggregators, purchase gold from people who do Galamsey.
Okay.
It is a fact, but that's not what we want to dwell on now.
So aside that, how do we make this? Because this looks, as you've agreed, a game changer.
That's the point I'm making.
How do we improve it?
What is important to me is that it is helping the system. I mean, but what will make it sustainable is how we'll be able to channel the benefits. I mean, what I'm talking about is the benefits. In terms of now there are no leakages, a lot of leakages. There are no losses, much losses. So if we're able to channel those monies well to the productive sector, be able to help the economy. Because without that, then we can't get it right. Because if we are able to make savings, if the economy is doing well, somehow, the currency is doing better now, and therefore it means that we are getting more. And then it means that we should be able to save more. And if we save more, it should be channeled to the productive sector of the economy, especially industry. I mean, that is where we're able to now expand the industrial base. When we expand the industrial base, the assumption is that we'll be able to make more for export. And then we'll be able to generate more foreign exchange to support this. You understand? That means a lot of people will be employed. Because we are talking about a developing economy now, where we can now have right now. We believe that our only savior is the industrial sector. And that is where we'll be able to generate a lot of employment. I mean, create a lot of jobs for people to do. And government will also be able to do a lot of export, because now you get more And so that is my take on that issue.
I want us to look at the, industrial revolution, and we'll get there. But I still want to...
Before then, still on the Gold Board,
yeah.
you are a ranking of the Trades and Industry Committee. You are in Parliament. As you speak about the possibilities of Gold Board activities helping Galamsey to thrive, what will your committee and the House do so that the
because it doesn't fall under my committee, but then I have interest because I'm a member of Parliament. So I have interest. As a matter of fact, I made a very strong point when were debating the Gold Board issue, and I believe that we're at the teething stage now. For me, one of the key things that I want the Gold Board to also look out is the fact that they shouldn't be so extremely tough on those who offend the law at this time. I don't know whether
what would those who offend them mean?
Whether I'm making it well. Let me just recraft the words. I'm just talking about a situation where they spend so much time, because we are at the teething stage, the beginning stage of the whole program. So it's likely there will be a lot of issues. So if you devote all the time, energy in trying to, find little faults, you may be swayed away, and you may be carried away to deviate from your original mandates, and that can create problems.
But its original mandates is likely to result in people trying to, smuggle gold out of the country.
This will be difficult now, as it stands now. I'm not talking about protecting that business. I'm not talking about that, because we all cannot underestimate the fact that this particular arrangement is going to help us. It's going to help the country. And everybody believes that. But the point is that we should also be mindful of the fact that this is a policy that just started. We are just the 6 months into the policy, or 5 months into the policy. So whilst we want to do things well, whilst we want to make corrections, we should also be a little flexible, not too tough. I don't know whether, because, people have just started the business. They may have teething problems, beginning problems, which is related to every business that starts.
Do I take it that you disagree then with the 10% of seized gold or cash for informant whose information will lead to
some of them may not, because you may not even have evidence. You are talking about whistleblowers taking 10%. Just whistleblowers.
No, but the ones that lead to seizures.
So I'm just saying that the whistleblower, the person is still a whistleblower.
Yes.
And so the point I'm making is that, what about you how do you get full evidence? So see, if you don't take care, you may waste your time on unnecessary, using national security to waste time to create unnecessary, which may not be true. Because you see people which may not be, they may not be doing wrong business, but then because of the effort or the zeal to make sure that you do things right, you may do.
No, but you'll be doing a wrong business when you have not been given license by the gold board to buy gold. If someone brings that information to gold board,
that's a very, very legitimate one. I'm talking about, you have to give evidence, back whatever whistle you blew to. You have to give evidence.
Yeah.
But then what evidence can you give? A lot of the people who are reporting are not able to give evidence. So you go, because the research I did is that a lot of people will go and sit at the national security for 10 hours and they'll be asked to go back home. And there wouldn't be anything seriously coming out of it. Albeit some of them are genuinely arrested and those gold seized. But there are times that you have to also know that this is a new business. So you may have issues at the beginning stage. I'm not by this. The emphasis is that I'm not by this, saying that they have to be extremely liberal. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we have to be a little, that's what I'm saying.
So are you saying that it's possible? Two-step question. So you're saying it's possible that whistleblowers may not have any evidence to back whatever whistle they're blowing.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
You are just telling us that you know on authority that Gold Board might be buying gold from illegal miners.
Yes.
And you asked, when Kojo asked what you're going to do about it, you said that it doesn't fall under your purview. But you have this information. If you do have evidence how are you going to ensure that the appropriate authority gets the evidence? Because I believe that minority or majority, we are all in a united front against illegal mining.
I told you.
Right. So what are you going to do about it so that this claim that you've just made on national television doesn't just end here?
No, it can't end there. Because that's something that we are going to take it up. I mean, seriously, I'm not going to end it here at all. Okay. There are issues.
Because you've just blown a whistle.
Yeah, there are issues that we have to address. I'm talking about issues. That's the point I'm making. So then, I mean, I'll show you a message I sent to Sammy Jemfi this dawn. I'll send you a message I sent to him on that. But see, that I'm talking about a situation that we all have to be part of it. As I said, this is not this government's business. It's a Ghana business. We are looking at the good of Ghana. That's what we are all fighting for. So if I don't sit here to be a prophet of doom that President Mahama should fail, no. If he fails, I'm also part of the system. I'm part of the legislature, and we are also part of government.
Okay.
And so our interest is to make sure that they succeed. And in succeeding, there are issues that we have to raise, and those are the issues that we
All right. So that's on Gold Board and gold. Now, we want to talk about how we are doing, the current weather for industry in Ghana. But let's start with an assessment or rating in terms of where we are. Now, they say it's the 4th industrial revolution, but many countries are already moving to the 5th industrial revolution, which is like you incorporating human and robotics and all that. We started from mechanization to automation to electrification. Where do you think Ghana is? Are we at the 1st, 2nd, 3rd? Because I feel like we're always playing catch-up, right? Where would you situate Ghana's industry?
For me now, I think Ghana is now moving. We are now seriously, taking off.
From where?
From
mechanization, automation.
No, I mean, so let's for now. Let me just make it this point. See, I'm talking about a situation where there's no country, any first world country in this world, that didn't focus on industrialization or that didn't decide to work hard on industrialization. So all these countries have succeeded or gotten to this stage because of industrialization. America is America because of industrialization. Japan is Japan because of industrialization. And so Ghana has gotten to a stage where we have come to the realization that that is the only hope for us as a country. Now.
So we've only now discovered that
because
industrialization holds a key.
We are started moving very fast.
Okay.
Hitherto, we were not so much. As far as
Nkrumah saw this in
at that time. We're talking about that era. That era is different from the current era, where things are done different. We are talking about now robots working.
Yeah, the Internet of Things.
We are talking about, focusing so much on digitalization. These are things that is making the industrial sector a good sector now. So we are talking about a situation where you'll be able to create a lot of jobs. So when we get to the when we get to the 24-hour economy, I'll make a point that there's a need for us to see industry now as our only hope. Do you know why? Because that is the only system or only sector that can create a lot of jobs. Yeah. That we can focus so much on export and generate more to support what Gold Board is doing.
Nkrumah saw this long ago. Government after government didn't see it. And that's why now it looks like we have to now begin to play catch-up.
Maybe at that time, when we started, maybe we didn't do it well. We thought we were doing it well, but we didn't really do it well. So my point is that you cannot compare, what you learned in school and what you did with your child who is in class 4 now. The systems are different, 2 different systems. And so I believe that now Ghana is seriously serious. Really? Okay. That's my point. That's because you could clearly see that we want to now get there. And that's the point I'm making to you. Because before this time, we're not so much interested in proper industrialization. Areas that can create a lot of. See, we have always said that the productive sector of every economy, is the hope of the real sector. Note, and the industrial sector carries the country along with the time because that will be able to generate a lot of employment. That will be able to also, create a lot of jobs outside. Revenue outside for us. Through export. And so if we're able to do more, we'll be able to export more and generate more foreign exchange to support our country. So I believe that now we seem serious.
Okay, so you were a deputy minister at the Trade Ministry, so we can ask this. Once you say we seem to be serious, what is Ghana's long-term industrialization strategy? And how aligned is it with the African Continental Free Trade area?
So now the African Continental Free Trade, I always say that has come to stay. It is the hope for Africa. I just want to make this clear before we even move into, where we are here, where we are, and where we want to get to. Because now, the only hope for Africa is for us to trade amongst ourselves.
Sure.
Because at first, we're getting other, either reciprocity agreements or arrangements or other free benefits like AGOA, like EPA arrangements. We're getting benefits. But now most of the countries are becoming a little difficult, like America. So what hope do you have now? The only hope we have as Africans is to start thinking of trading amongst ourselves as Africans. The 55 African countries must decide to say, this is the only hope for us.
Okay.
Let's start trading amongst ourselves. Because out of the 55 countries, apart from Eritrea, all the countries have signed agreement. And almost 47 countries have ratified the agreement, which means that now we are ready to do business amongst ourselves. So let us take off. All the, protocols are ready, rules of origins have been set up. Clearly, the African continent is ready to help Africa. Okay. And that is why I believe that we have to stand up. Now, you see what Ghana was doing. Ghana was not, I said earlier on that Ghana was not so serious. Some time back. You may see it differently or you may say it differently. But I am talking about the situation where now you can see, you were at the automobile summit. You could see seriousness. You could see the zeal to make the policy work. That's what I'm talking about. Because I was part of the policy. And the difference between then and now is vast.
In fact, let me give you some figures to back your point and to also
really
expand the conversation. So it turns out Ghana's industrial sector recorded the slowest growth among the three major economic sectors in the first quarter of 2025, in comparison to the other sectors, And we expanded by 3.4% year on year, which means among all the gains made, industry is the one lagging behind. What do you think are the underlying factors? You're actually saying that
we are doing well in the extractives.
Okay, you go on.
No, because we are doing well. See, if you don't take it, we are doing well in the extractives. Mining, for example, is all fall under that sector, the productive sector. So you may see industry not growing to the, but in terms of the reality, space. Now let me give you figures. When we started even the automobile industry, we're not even doing up to 1,000 cross-board. 1,000 vehicles. 1,000 units.
EVs.
Yes, assembled in Ghana. But if you're now doing numbers, we are now doing, within a space of, let's say, 4 years or 5 years, we are now doing almost about 4,000. We are getting there. We are sure we're able to end the year at 6,000. So that gives us some hope. That's the point I'm making. So I'm looking at a situation where now the system is, and we're also bringing new laws, legislation to back, like ceramics, for example. We have only 3 companies, ceramic companies in Ghana. Only 4 doing well. These are companies that are doing extremely well. They are even producing under demand. And still, we are still encouraging importation of these products to compete with the ones that are being manufactured locally.
That's why I asked, what are long-term strategies?
No, I was just going to, because I had, my point is that I wanted to just develop the point to that side.
That's fine, yeah.
That we are going to a point where we are sure that Ghana has gotten there. So we don't have a choice but to expand the local businesses. And how do we expand? How do we expand? How do we grow? By encouraging them to do business. We have to provide legislation to restrict export. So the future of industry now is for us as government to show so much interest I mean, through incentive arrangement, good incentive arrangement, by offering incentives that can stimulate demand, that can create a lot of opportunities for jobs. Then government must also show interest in off-taking these goods that are manufactured in the system. So I've become an advocate for these locally manufactured goods. That if government is procuring, let's say, 1,000 vehicles for all MDAs, I mean, within a year or across, maybe let's say in the space of 2 years, government can decide to get these cars for the cars that are assembled in Ghana. If government is thinking of giving every girl child sanitary pad, government should be able to get it from companies, only 2 companies that are operating in Ghana. Government should be able to get it from them. So that will make the industrial sector, I mean, bright. That will give them a very good future. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, you mentioned the incentives for local companies.
Yeah.
Why is it that it looks as though we are good at, talking, but when it comes to the action, it's less? I'm saying this because I know of companies which are into agri companies, let's say, and they were importing machinery into this country. They are entitled to some, what do you call it, a task?
Yeah.
They had to struggle right to the Ministry of Finance. It never came. They had to bring real cash to bring those equipment into the country. So really, why are we love to talk, but when it comes to the action,
that's the problem. And that is because, I also worked as a CEO of Ghana Free Zones. So I am an incentive-oriented person. I believe in that. I've had a lot of issues with our finance ministers. I mean, when I was in government, when we were in government, and I had issues because, see, for me, because of the work that I did, and currently also working for the World Free Zones Organization, the sub-region, I tell you that the kind of fiscal incentives government is offering is not even mouth-watering. I'm telling you for a fact. I always cite examples, like, let me give you an example through the Free Zones, for example. Like in Ghana, Ghana Free Zones Authority gives people who come to do business here, they give you 10 years tax holiday. Corporate tax 25%, tax here, 10 years tax holiday. And so after 10 years, you pay 15% instead of 25%. Go to Cote d'Ivoire. 10 years tax holiday, after 10 years, you pay 1%. So now they can easily lure a lot of our industry businesses in the country. So the point I'm making is that you cannot do business. You cannot create a very good industrial sector without incentives, without being incentive-oriented person or government. Government must show interest in that.
So why are we not doing it?
That's the point. I mean, we are supposed to do it. I can't say we are not doing it.
Do you think the 24-hour economy plus holds the key to some of the, does it offer solutions to some of the incentives?
The 24-hour economy is dead at birth. Died when
dead at birth?
When the policy was launched. I'm a marketer by profession. I'm a trained marketer. Now, you can't advertise. That's the first point. It is not the most important part. But that even creates an impression that the policy is dead at birth. Do you know why?
Tell us.
Because you can't advertise a different product and sell it. You can't sell a different product. You can't advertise a different content of a product and give out something different.
I hear what you're saying. Let me just come in at this point.
Yes.
They have said, and they promised to do that, they are going to incentivize private sector.
No,
you are just talking about incentivizing
No, I'm not even
industry.
getting there. I'm talking about a situation where the normal 24-hour economy that was advertised by President Mahama was that. And you can all bear me out. Tell me if I'm wrong. The 24-hour policy that we're all expecting was a 24-hour economy that was going to create jobs immediately. Is that not the case? Was going to give, 3 shifts or something immediately. Is that not the case? That was what was advertised.
Was that the sense you got from it?
No, that was what was advertised. You also got it like that.
But I also read what they said in the document.
No, I'm not talking about the document.
It goes beyond. As we speak, we are under this administration, right? The NDC is government.
Yes.
And so 24-hour economy is no longer a policy we can talk about in oblivion. It is what is happening right now.
There's a point
and I'm digging in to see that are there any other proper solutions that you are saying that is the key to our quest for industrialization?
I'll come to that. But the point I'm going to make to you is that you cannot advertise something, because a lot of people were asking me in my constituency, so when are we going to start the shift system? When are we going to get jobs? That is what you advertise. So you couldn't have given us anything different from what you advertise. That is by the way.
Okay.
But the point that I told them, I even wrote it to the 24-hour secretariat, that the 24-hour policy can only thrive through the industrial sector or industry. It can only stand on industry because you have to incentivize. And it's not clear. That is why the policy has a problem.
But that's what the policy says they're doing.
Because the policy, the document that came out, doesn't have any incentive. They talked to us after we spoke to them. Then they said that, okay, now this is what they want to do. Now they have 24-hour, they have make 24-hour, shoot 24-hour, connect 24-hour.
Yeah.
So that is where they're now breaking up. But the policy they presented to us, there was no incentive written in the policy.
So indeed, the Make 24, all the other breakdowns,
so when
they
policy
actually contain something that you are just saying. That's the point I want to establish. In order for us to stop playing catch-up on this in industrial revolution, you are saying one major thing is incentivizing local industry.
Yes.
And I'm asking if now that they have launched this policy document of development framework, it holds a key to our quest to revolutionize our industries.
That's supposed to be the case.
But it's not,
and
like
that's
you're
what
saying.
I'm telling you.
That it's not.
It's not, because the 24-hour economy should have spelled out some good incentives for, especially the private sector. You are talking about a policy and you only made mention of the fact that you need $4 billion to run the policy. 4 billion. There are no details given. You also said that $3.7 billion will be needed from the private sector. Will come from as what? Is it coming in as a loan or what? As equity or as through like a PPP arrangement? We don't know. These details are not given. Specific incentives are not given or stated, targeted at areas that can easily, because you're talking about industrial park, that's a very phenomenal idea. Great. Developing the water lake, the
water basin.
Water basin, which is extremely phenomenal. I will support it. But what's the package? We wanted them also to mention something about the Greater Kumasi Industrial Park, the biggest industrial park in the whole of the sub-region that is being developed in Kumasi. What incentives are available for those who want to even set up in the industry, the industrial park? What are see, these are things that we're expecting the government to come to us with. They should be able to speak to issues well for us to know that the 24-hour economy is bringing hope. But now it is going to be as if they're going on a fishing expedition.
Your job as opposition is not only to scrutinize government action, but also proffer or suggest what you think is feasible solutions in terms of our quest for development. Be that as it's meant that you're saying that the policy document was dead on arrival, what do you say they should do? I've listened to some people who told us that they should give the entire document to National Development Planning Commission so that they can incorporate it on a more long-term permanent development program rather than treat it as this administration's flagship program. What do you say? How do we ensure that we are making the most out of it?
But the point is that, see, what they are even, if you look at the policy, the 53, 54 people, talking about even giving some incentives arrangements, existing arrangement to other state agencies, like taking, as if they want to align free zones and JIPCs.
Yeah, we'll talk about free zones in a bit. But
on the 24-hour economy policy. So I'm just talking about a situation where this is a long-term arrangement. So government must show so much commitment. How? And the commitment must come through legislation. Because we had a situation where the previous government brought, the policy of 1D, 1F. And we had issues. There were issues around it. So some of the issues will still come up. I mean, there's no aspect of it that will clearly show that the government is showing a commitment for it to be legislated so that it will make it permanent and it will make it...
This is because they haven't presented a bill.
Yeah, the bill, they said the bill is being prepared. They said it isn't ready. I followed up last 3 days. But I'm just trying to tell you that the policy document that came out, that is the basic document we have. I have read through the documents back to back, and I know what I'm talking about.
Mr. Revi, when you look at Fund 24, it says will unlock $1 billion plus in enterprise financing for MSMEs in strategic value chains through a value chain financing facility delivered by DBG, Development Bank Ghana, through raw banks, microfinance institutions, savings and loans institutions, and commercial banks. Loans will be concessional, below 12%, and tied to membership in cooperatives or trade and industrial associations to enhance credit discipline, monitoring, and access. The risk MSME lending through a technical assistance grant fund and credit insurance scheme. Support infrastructure financing through the creation of 3 special purpose vehicles under the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. Focus on archaeological parks. Aren't these, similar to the incentives that we're talking about?
These are similar to the issues that we had.
Which issue?
The issues that the 1D1F had. 1D1F, through the 1D1F arrangement, government was to subsidize the interest rate on government had an arrangement with participating financial institutions called the PFIs. And so these PFIs were supposed to give loans to 1D1 company, either greenfield or brownfield businesses. And government was supposed to subsidize part or half. And it became difficult for government as time went on. And the same thing is going to happen. So this is something that we see as a problem. And what is more, I mean, just look at the policy well. We're talking about fishing expedition exercise, trying to now go through DBG to look for finances for. It is not that easy. We're talking about finances from banks. It's not that clear. These companies that are coming up must show that because they are now the 24-hour economy secretariat is only facilitating. They cannot force any bank to grant loans to people. So those people can only take loans on their balance sheets. That's all. Or the equities that they present, I mean collaterals. And so if they're not able to show commitment that and that the strength that they will be able to pay the loans, they will not be given. The point I'm trying to make is that government should have learned a lot from the difficulties we had through the 1D1 arrangement, so that those things could have been rectified, solved through the coming into force of this policy. Okay. But it seems to me that they are bringing the same issues now. It is not something that can easily take off tomorrow. But between me and you, Joy FM, very credible, Joy News, very credible network. Everybody knows in this country. Tell me, 2 of you, please. I'm giving you indulgence. Tell me that is this what Ghanaians are looking for, or Ghanaians were expecting? What 24-hour economy? Be very sincere. We were told that people were going to sell watching in the evening. Passport office, we were going to. That's what they told us.
But you being an industrialist understands that you cannot just.
So why do you have to say those things?
But of course, when you say you will do it, but when you say you will do, you take the person to say Mokola, and you are in Kokomlemle. You need to start your vehicle.
So
isn't this starting the
24-hour economy? They are now even bringing the bill. They say the bill is ready. So this 24-hour economy is. There's no money even available. I'm sure that the midterm budget review may cater for some part, but you see, at this stage, government doesn't have that financial muscles to be able to devote $1 billion for this particular project to start.
How can we work around it?
If you decide to tell lies, that's your own problem. And it comes to
let's look for the solution.
We are all praying. Seriously, we are all praying that government to be able to take off. A lot of my constituents and Ghanaians will benefit from the policy. As a matter of fact, when they said they were going to launch the 24-hour economy, I have, trucks, vans. So I went round, Kufudia, that the policy will be launched the following week. So people should be ready. Yeah, we are going to get them jobs. And so I was expecting that when the policy was launched, I was going to carry my people in buses.
Yeah, Mr.
Go and start work. No,
I like how you said it, Mr. Debbie.
So that's the truth. I'm just telling the truth.
Yeah.
And so
I'm asking.
But this particular one,
yes.
Clearly be very sincere with yourself. This one clearly shows that government's commitment is low on this policy.
Looks like they're discussing.
But could they, when they said same about 1D, 1F, you objected to it. Why are you sounding the same tone? That it can be done?
No, I'm not saying it can be done.
You said you are not committed.
I said the commitment. Because, if you read the policy, for me, because it's my sector, I've read the policy. As well as I even printed some for your people, to your colleagues here. I gave them some this morning. That I've read the thing back to back. And it's like you can't see any hope in the short term. The hope is in the long term, which is good because for Ghana, building a new Ghana. That is what I want.
Brick by brick.
But then the impression given is creating problems for we politicians. That's what I'm saying. I'm not by this accuse anybody, but I'm just saying that
give them a proposal as to how they can make this work for you.
They should come out with the legislation. They're very good. They said they are bringing a bill. We want to see the details. And then there are areas but immediately they have to also bring out incentive measures, very good ones that can easily stimulate demand, because all the private sector players are looking. They can only expand when they have the demand to produce.
Okay. All right.
So if you have cars, if you are manufacturing cars, and people are not going to buy, you will not produce. If you want to produce more, it means that then you will get more. You will get people to come and work. So government will be able to stimulate demand by giving out incentives that are very mouth-watering and strategic, so that the industrial sector can help.
While we are talking about...
Look at the agri sector. What you do to us in the agri sector, when we are bringing machinery and we have to be combing all over and we are denied, it's not good. That one, you, the MPs, and those in the executive should work on making sure that when agri companies are importing machinery, because agri companies are employing so much, then when we have to get these tax waivers so that we can import our equipment, it becomes a problem. Then you have to,
it's a problem.
Yeah, so you need to work on it.
That's what I said. It's a problem.
Okay.
For me, I believe in incentives because I've visited a lot of free zones.
You said that. So I'm just saying that make sure that works for the agri companies.
Okay.
We'll be grateful.
Okay. Let's take a look at while we're discussing industry, let's talk about the cement industry as well. And I know that every time cement issues pop up, it's about the prices and how they determine how young home builders are struggling here and there. And sometimes people compare what you eat to, why you're using that money for food and you can buy cement. I also know that there's been a large calcine plant in this country. Let's hear your thoughts in terms of how that can help us maybe propel our agenda towards more affordable cement, because at every point in time, the ordinary Ghanaian needs cement to do something. What is your strategy here? How does this plant help us to leave the export-driven industry to a more self-reliant approach to this industry?
I think it's coming as a savior to the industry, and because
is it? And correct me if is that the world's largest, or is just largest within the African continent? Okay, all right.
So you see, the point is that the cement industry in Ghana is not well structured. So that's the problem. So we through the effort,
and it's very competitive.
And most of the players, especially the Chinese in the business, are not doing good business.
Really?
Yes, they have issues.
Why?
They have issues, and they have issues. They have to, because you have to be very competitive, and you have to also do business. Make sure that whilst you want to generate profit, you also sell something that will be very sustainable.
Why do you say they are not doing good?
I will explain. That's what I will explain. I'm talking about a situation where you have to conform with the standards. Total.
So they are not conforming?
Not all. One or two. Some of them. some of them have issues. I hope you know that one or two were closed down.
Sometime ago.
Yes, and we at the Trade Industry Committee have been petitioned. We have been petitioned by some of the cement companies, and so we have to now go to the petition and call them. We have been told that one or two companies, for now, we have to do investigations. I know that these companies are just using quarry dust, and clinker instead of limestone and clinker.
Hey.
So we have to now find.
That's dangerous.
It would impact the structural integrity of the.
So that's what I'm talking about. The issues are many in the cement industry because of the way they came about and started business, and we just left them like that, and so they have become so powerful in the system. So through this thing that we came with the ally restricting importation of cement. That even saved us a little. Then the second phase was trying to determine prices for them. That created a problem to us, between KT, remember, and the cement companies. So what we have to do now, or we are trying to do now, is to make sure that the cement people come to understand the system, that this is the reality. They can't decide to determine their own prices and determine how much they want to earn and get abnormal profits and take the money away. That is not the way to go.
More important when the city has stabilized for some.
Stabilized.
Yet it's not.
It hasn't.
So that's why I said that I made a proposal to the minister that we can also not be extremely hard, because these are investments that they have done in the system. They have done huge investments. So we have to now find a way to talk to them, to understand us, and see the need to do that. And government must also show commitment in their business. That is another way that we'll be able to get them to understand us and to come out with prices that will be good, for the ordinary Ghanaian to afford. Now, going back to not that alone, we were also trying to turn cassava into...
But Honorable, before you go there, the allegation about two companies producing below standard.
Yes.
That is scary because we know what buildings, can do. So, how long have you had this complaint?
No, just last week, and we are sitting on it tomorrow.
Okay.
So until the committee had to sit on it, just to find out. Then, you remember when we had issues like that, we closed one of them. Then, had to now restructure and come back to business. So it's a serious problem.
Yeah.
Ghana here, even the limestone we produce in Ghana is not, two best, the best in the system.
Okay.
In terms of world standards, it's not the best. It's good. That's how come you have to use more clinker. And we don't produce clinker in Ghana. Every cement manufacturer imports clinker.
Clinker, yes.
And so we don't even have it here, and that costs them so much because you import it and you pay a lot of duty. So mostly they want to transfer the cost to the consumer, which is not too good for us. And so the point I'm trying to make now is that there's the need for us as a country to show interest in the work they do. Be interested. Call them, regular meetings. Let them know that you can't be working in this country and just get abnormal profits and just repatriate profits without thinking about the ordinary consumer or the customer. That is not too good. And that is what we are doing. Last 2-3 weeks, we met them. We met the cement manufacturers and throughout the committee. We are going to meet them again after meeting these companies tomorrow. Or we'll meet them again. And then we are telling them that there's a need for them to reduce it. But the other one that came was just something that government, I don't know whether through government initiative or whatever, or somebody just decided to put something in the system that cement prices have been reduced to 83 cities. When these companies have not been spoken to, at least there's a need for you to engage them, and that is what we're calling government to do.
But when you met them, what was their reason for not reducing?
They were not so sure that the rates were going to be sustainable.
Oh, okay.
That's the point, because you can't just buy clinker month to month. You buy it in bulk. So you buy maybe for 6 months. So clinkers that are being used now have been bought, let's say, 6 months ago, or were bought 6 months ago. And so they have to be sure that these clinkers that they have been purchased will be able to get them the money they invested in the purchase of the clinker.
Okay.
And also the
you
production.
missed the angle of, you know, the calcine plant, whether or not you think it marks a shift
it's a very good start for us as a country, because we are praying that we will wake up one day and we hear that cement prices have come down as low as 50 cedis. So that is one of the key ways that we are sure it will reduce the cost of cement for us.
Okay, all right. Kojo.
Let's do the free zones now. You've been there before. I mean, people talk about transparency and efficiency in the Ghana Free Zones Authority. I mean, how has the authority in facilitating businesses and investment in Ghana been that transparent? And what has been its contribution to the economy, really?
So, I mean, because the free zones has a specialized concept, you know, worldwide, free zones. I mean, but Ghana, we are operating different free zones altogether from other countries. Ghana is operating the hybrid system of free zones. In other words, we are operating the two-tier system of free zones. You can operate as a free zones company in the free zones enclave or outside the enclave, what we call a single factory. Yeah. So a company can be incorporated and be operating as a free zones, but this doesn't happen anywhere in the world. When we go to anywhere in the world, it doesn't happen like that.
Of course, because it has to be near raw materials. That's manufacturing.
It has to be in the free zones enclave. Yeah. And that's why there's a need for us to amend the laws of the free zones that become very outmoded. This act of I-554 was promulgated in 1998. This act needs to be changed. I mean, to be able to shift free zones. And this free zones is an export-oriented free zones. The Ghana free zones is an export-oriented free zones, which means that a chunk of whatever you produce must be exported.
Oh, okay.
Before you can be granted the license, which is not too good. We have to now shift to special economic zones, because that is what is in vogue now everywhere in the world. Yeah. Countries and Nigeria, Adeba, I mean, we're doing a lot of work with them. They have moved from free zones to special economic zones.
But I thought we have some in Ghana. Special economic.
No, we have to amend the law. The foundation is the law. Make sure that we take off like that. And then free zones authority must restrict itself. That's my opinion. I mean, working with other free zones to regulatory issues, specifically try to facilitate business and help business to register. And so that private sector operators can come into work. When you go to Dubai, for example, I mean, in Dubai, we have companies that are doing, because they are operating the monarchical system of government. So the king can easily issue an order. I mean, a company like IFZA, International Free Zones Association, came to Ghana. They wanted to operate in Ghana. They were coming with 80 multinational businesses to set up in their own enclave. They were prepared to set up in their own enclave. And they were coming with 80 multinational. Each of them has a minimum investment of about $300 million to come and invest in Ghana. But to be able to set up means that Ghana Free Zones must authorize them and grant them license, and grant those companies which will also operate in the enclave line, which is not good for them, because it's a private sector business. So my point is that free zones must change now.
But that didn't happen.
No, it couldn't.
Why?
Because we had to go through processes. We have to change the law. Because the law states that the Ghana Free Zones Authority is mandated to now grant license and so manage the enclave.
So you couldn't have done that for people.
So we have private developers in Ghana, like the Dawa Industrial Park, the Meridian Industrial Park. These industrial parks cannot have their own free zones companies operating in the free zones. You understand?
Yeah.
Free zones must grant them license. But when you go to Dubai, for example, and other countries like Kenya, the government is not the only institution that grants licenses to free zones companies.
Okay.
So it makes the private sector also be part of that business, and it helps a lot, because now we're able to generate a lot of business. Because that people that I was talking about, they were bringing all these companies to us.
So the thing is, you have to allow private sector also come into the licensing people.
The licensing regime.
Okay.
But the licensing regime is in the hands of the authority, the free zones authority, which makes it difficult. So, assuming you are coming in as an investor, you know, in the free zones, you can come into the free zones through these four means, either through manufacturing, service, enclave development, and warehousing or commercial business. So, if you want to come in as enclave developer, for example, you are coming to set up a free zones. You have your own companies, let's say blue chip companies. You are bringing them to set up in your enclave. That's what Nana Kwame wanted to do when I was at CEO Ghana Free Zones. They wanted to do the Petronia City project.
Yes, the one
yes, with his colleague, his business partner Azad Kula. And when they wanted to do that business, that is they wanted to bring their own like tenants.
Okay.
But Ghana Free Zones Authority will not allow you or cannot, per the Act, to grant licenses to these tenants. They must grant the license.
Okay. But why can't the Ghana Free Zones Authority grant a license to their clients?
No, because I'm saying that it's an investment you are doing. So you want to be seen as giving them the license. And it happens in other jurisdictions too.
Oh, okay. So like this one, Kwame Bediako and his client should be able to give the licenses to operate. Okay.
So they are operating the free zones as a private sector operator. That is what we're talking about. But you see, what is important is that the acts must change. We have to work on the act, the Free Zones Act.
But you are in a position to make it.
Yeah, we are working on it. We are seriously working on it. But we started it, and then I'm sure Madam Mary Ewusi will also continue. I mean, what is important is that we have to get the act amended to be able to be consistent and modern. I mean, in the whole world from free zones, because else we will not be so lucrative in business. So people are attracting investment easily through other means, and well, it means that now Ghana Free Zones must conduct their own, road shows and investment drives. These investment tours and missions can be done by the private sector. And the private sector can set up its own enclave. And the free zones will be the regulator.
Okay, not the manager.
Not the manager.
Well, like you mentioned, let's wrap up the conversation with a look at the automobile industry.
Yeah.
At the automotive summit, I realized that a lot of young people are ready to transform Ghana in terms of assembling right here in Ghana, in terms of driving electronic vehicles and all that. How's the reception been? Do you think Ghana is really ready for that? Because as we speak, in terms of EVs alone, I don't know if we have charging ports all over the country. Not yet. But in terms of the companies that are assembling vehicles in Ghana, I think it's very encouraging. But in terms of the reception of the Ghanaian to purchasing EVs or vehicles assembled here in Ghana, how was the assessment?
That is the problem now. That is the problem we have now. Because, the companies are ready. They are ready. As I'm talking to you now, we have 8 different companies here, assemblers, who are manufacturing 14 different brands of products, of vehicles. That is also good.
That's encouraging.
Encouraging. But the only problem is the government's not being so part of the business.
They're not?
No, being part here means government should be the #1 off-taker. Because the ordinary Ghanaian doesn't understand the system so well. The ordinary Ghanaian still feel that he have to still import a vehicle to use in Ghana rather than buying a brand new car. Ghana, we import 100,000 vehicles a year to this country. Out of the 100,000 vehicles a year, 70% or even more are overaged cars. Cars that are overaged and cars that are accidental sometimes. And these are vehicles that you are bringing in to come and even
pollute our environment. Sorry, I took the wind out of your sail.
And create problems.
Yeah.
But note, you can buy vehicles. That's how come government, through this arrangement, is coming out with a new vehicle financing arrangement.
Because I was going to say there.
That was
financing.
But even if you speak to the manufacturers, assemblers, because all these assemblers, most of them are working through agents here, except only 1 or 2 OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, are in this country, like VW. VW, they made history. They didn't just come, but they brought one of their senior managers, who is a Ghanaian, to come here to manage the business. That is also another encouragement for us to see the need to purchase the product. And the second point is that the need for the second-hand car dealers also to see the need to work with these assemblers.
But Mr. Fifi, I mean, it's all about the price, and as we said, I mean, if a young man like me would have to cough up, say, 500,000 Ghana cedis to be able to buy a car from these assemblers.
I understand you.
I cannot, so I'll go for the one that if I get my 150 cedis, I can import one which is close to what they have here.
150 cedis?
150,000.
I know.
I understand. Yeah. I understand you, but the point is that it's better to drive a new car than to drive
But how can I drive a new car if I don't have 500,000?
It is. That's why, I mean, government through this policy is coming out with this vehicle financing.
Right. Before we have to go. I'm rushing you now. Before the influx of these new companies who are assembling in Ghana, we had our very own Sofo Kantanka.
Yes.
What happened to Kantanka? How did you encourage Ghanaians to patronize Kantanka during your time? In fact, I didn't see Kantanka there.
Yes.
At the summit.
We are trying to encourage them. That's our own. You understand?
You're still trying to encourage Kantanka?
There are two assemblers in Ghana who are doing enhanced assembly. You know, we have that third tier. The basic and the enhanced and the CKD. I mean, the complete knockdown. Now, Kantanka is even doing enhanced, but I'm sure they also have their own issues. You know, that's business.
You said that government is not leading the charge. In your time, did you do that for Kantanka?
We did it a lot of times. They can testify to that. I traveled with them twice on a mission because, for me, you know my interest. My interest is industry. And I'm so much passionate about bringing a lot of assemblers. I mean, either components, manufacturers, so we're trying to encourage, even trying to get other people to show interest in investing in Kantanka business. Because I believe that they have to expand. You know, the man has done so well, but he alone cannot do the business. And that's the truth. He has done so well. He has brought the name of Ghana up there. I mean, and for everybody to know that a Ghanaian is doing this business. But the point is that to be able to expand and to scale up, you need huge investment in the business. And I don't know about, I mean, their readiness to get somebody to be part of their business. That's another thing that, but for that, Kantanka is doing well. And I know a lot of companies in Ghana are patronizing their business. And so I guess they have to do more. I mean, not only Kantanka, but VW, Rana Motors,
all of them. Those 10 companies you mentioned.
They are all doing well.
Well, that's our time, but we'll give you a minute to give us your final take on all the matters, all important matters we discussed. Final words.
So my final words is on the 24-hour economy. I believe that the 24-hour economy must be looked at well. Government cannot just bring the policy like that. I mean, without giving us details. They should be able to speak to the issues well, especially with regards to the $4 billion US they are talking about. Is it also, does it include chop, which was not stated? I mean, they should be able to spell out details.
What
do you need the money for?
Chop?
No, I'm just hazarding a guess. That what do you want the 4 billion? Tell us. Let us know. Here, we need this. Let us know. What even surprised everybody? So this one there is a killer punch. Is the fact that they are telling us that they need $3.7 billion from. They are getting it from the private sector. I said, we don't want to be that. She said, how does it happen? 3.7. Is it coming in as a loan? Government, I'm asking you a question, please.
You know you are still in government, right? Opposition is part of government.
So the 24-hour economy secretariat. My own uncle, I'm asking a very critical question. The 3.7, I want to ask, is it a loan from the private sector? Or is it the equity, like an equity to business? Or is it like is it a PPP arrangement? I want the answer to
So obviously you want more clarity on the matter. Thank you.
He stands a better chance to have all of that. He's in Parliament. When the bill comes, ask him.
No, but I need him to answer the questions.
Before he comes.
Ghanaians, this is not a rhetorical question. I want him to answer the question.
Okay.
For Ghanaians to know But
it's been a pleasure having you on the AM show. Thank you so
very
much for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much, sir.
All right, now, are you looking to do things differently? And then to level up your skills and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics show that it's tough out there for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. Doing things differently then is what the Design and Technology Institute is all about, and is all here to help you do that for yourself. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding and fabrication, design innovation, graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, among others, and entrepreneurship. Their programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson, BTEC, and CTVET. So you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions or call 0541693534 for more information.
Well, in case you're wondering, we spoke to the legislator for New Durban South. He's a member of parliament for that constituency, and currently the ranking member on the Trade and Industry Committee of Parliament, Mr. Michael Befi Ochre. Thank you so much once again. Okay, so I have to tell you about Nesta Home, because if you're looking for a home in a prime location, Nesta's Home has got you covered. Our properties in Tema Community 26, just behind Palace Mall, offer a serene atmosphere, easy access to transportation routes, and other social amenities. Now, off-plan prices start at $35,000 per. Contact us today on these numbers: 053-101-4440 extension 1 or 053-101-4447, or you can also visit our website at www.nestas.com.gh for more information. And Kojo will tell you about Syntex tanks.
Now, let's talk about water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right. The tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It is strong and durable and built to handle Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has got your back. So my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. Call 0244335168 to buy now, or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, strong, tough. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Do stay with us on the AM show.
Thank you for your patience staying with us since 6 a.m. this morning. It's time for us to talk about GSTEP. That's Ghana's Science and Tech Explorer Exhibition and Awards. For those of you who are familiar with this channel, this is not the first time you'll be hearing of GSTEP, but I have guests in studio to help us understand exactly what's new this time round. I have Gideon Mensah. He's a project manager, and he's here with me. Good morning, Gideon. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, and you?
I'm fantastic. And I also have Blessing and Eliel. Eliel, I haven't met anyone with your name. It's so unique. So introduce yourself to us and tell us about your team.
So, first of all, good morning to you and to your viewers as well. And I'm Eliel, as you said. And we are from Yasi Presby.
Okay, Eliel, I'll come right back to you, okay? Blessing, you tell us about yourself as well.
So I'm Bedo Tiwa Blessing.
Okay, which team are you supporting? Are you part of? Tell us about GSTEP. Okay. What does it mean to you?
So,
Ella, I'm only skipping you because we have a technical challenge. I'll come back to you. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we are from Team Innovation Alliance.
Okay.
We are part of the GSTEP 2025. And then we are from Efijaso Presby Basic A.
Efijaso Presby Basic A. Okay.
In the New Durban North Municipality.
You've come a long way.
Yeah, apparently we're from the Eastern region.
Okay. I'll come back to you. So, Gideon,
yes.
We know what GSTEP is. You guys are championing, science and technology explorer. I see you have some robotic thing in front of you there. And as project manager, this is not the first time you are leading a project like this. Tell us, what has the experience been for you this particular year, and how has it evolved over the years?
Yeah, so it's actually been an amazing experience. Amazing because of the people we are working with, the kids. That's between the ages of 10 and then 15. And during that stage of a human being's life, in fact, the mind really works really in a fascinating way. So working with them that way, in fact, it's been really wonderful. So the whole idea is for us to be able to nurture them, to be able to solve problems using STEM education or STEM ideas, where they're able to understand what the problem is and how they can use the basic maths and science and technology things they do in class to be able to solve such problems. Yes. This year particularly, we've been able to help them. For my side, I'm in charge of the resource and the materials that they use.
Okay.
And we were able to go a long way to be able to make sure that all that they require was given to them to be able to support in the ideas. And you could see that the teams were really ready to solve their problems. It would be amazing if you'd be able to get to the exhibition site and see the amazing things that they've been able to do so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Eliel, I'm back to you now. I know that every year you select 50 students to exhibit their prototypes, right? In terms of the innovative ways you've used to solve a problem that affects most people in their everyday lives. You started by introducing yourself, but I think we had a problem with your microphone. So tell us again, and then tell us about your school and what's really exciting about this year's competition for you.
So first of all, good morning to you and to your viewers as well. As you said, I'm Eliel Amponsa, and I'm from Efijasi Presby Basic.
So same school?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the eastern region of Ghana, and we are from the New Yabi North municipality. You said what is exciting about this year's GenStep. I would say this year's GenStep is much more collaborative and it's much more innovative, which inspired us to even name our team Innovation Alliance.
Okay. So your team Innovation Alliance. Yeah. Okay. Gideon, tell us about some other teams you may have. You're wearing a different color from theirs.
Yeah, so this is for the organizers.
Oh, okay. So it's just organizers.
Yeah.
What other teams do you have on board this year?
Yeah, so there are teams like Aqua Roots, and a number of them, cutting across all the 3 regions that we are working on.
I'm told the next team will be joining us right after this interview. So let's talk about the impact you have seen in terms of the growth. You mentioned that these are students between 10 and 15 years old, and they are still in their very formative years. Talk to me about the impact that GSTEP, this innovative idea of challenging students in science and technology, how has it impacted their lives and you even as adults?
Yeah. So normally as we are growing, being in class, we learn about science, technology, we learn about mathematics. And we are wondering, like, what's the essence of all of these things?
Like asking me to find X.
Yes. Whilst X is still there. So we are trying to link the classroom with real-life problems. How they can apply whatever they learn in class to solve the problems they see around their environments or in their communities. Yeah, so that's one thing that I've seen, that the students have now been able to link the two, the classroom work to the outside problems that we face every day. And also in terms of their confidence. So how to articulate a problem, how to articulate its solution, in terms of having the courage also to approach a problem where they put in 1 or 2 things together and then they're able to come up with a prototype, which is, if not even solving the whole problem, but it gives you that potential that, once they develop more, they'll be able to do amazing.
Blessing, tell me about what you developed, your team, as a whole. What did you guys develop?
Okay, so we brought 8 assistive innovations for the deaf environment, so it's an acronym. So what we are doing is we are trying to bridge the communication gap between the hearing impaired in our societies and schools and us, the normal person, in quotes. So that's what it is.
That's wonderful. If you win, like Eliel, what would be your great idea when you win this challenge? What are you targeting? What innovative thing are you targeting to create?
If we are to win GSTEP 2025, our main aim is to distribute our project to various sectors in Ghana, such as educational, like the School for the Deaf, GES, and even NGOs that need the aid or services of people with hearing impairments.
Thank you for coming. I wish you all the very best. Gideon, you have the final word.
All right.
I mean, you can invite our audience to join you. I know it's on the 16th and on the 17th. Yes, let's go.
Yeah,
also, you are here again. You know what? Let's take a quick break. Let me usher in the next team, and then we will talk about exactly when you should expect to watch all the action right here on the Joy News channel. We'll be right back. So I've been joined by a new set of contestants, but of course Gideon is still with us. So let's get to know them too a little bit. And I'll start with you because apparently we come from Agbos-Mekliko, both of us. How are you?
Yes, I'm fine.
Introduce yourself to us and tell us what's exciting about G-Step this year.
Okay. My name is Vanessa Esianyo Ajakofi, and we are from the Kukurintumi, Achim, in the eastern region of Ghana. And this year's G-Step has been exciting because with the last year, our team was part of the Perseverance, but this year we have joined the People's Choice Challenge, which is very exciting.
This means it's the second time you're coming on.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. What about you? Tell me about yourself. Tell me, you're from the same team, I assume, so that means that you're also coming back the second time. What's different this time round? What did you see last year that you don't see this time, or what didn't you see last year and then you see now?
Okay, so last year we didn't have the opportunity.
Your name and
Okay,
great.
Last year we didn't have the opportunity to go for the pitching and judging, but this year we had the opportunity to go and pitch at Kufuridian at all. It was amazing.
That's what it means to be part of the People's Choice.
Yes.
It means that your prototype gets to be presented, you defend it, and then you're awarded for that. So tell me, what did you guys create?
Okay, so our prototype is about hydroponic farming that deals with planting using water instead of soil. So with the water, it's not only water, but it's with organic nutrient-rich water solution, which was prepared by ourselves.
What?
We made it, yeah.
How did you come up with that? How old are you again?
I'm 14.
No, that's wonderful. So, I mean, talk to me about the process of coming up with such a, to me, it sounds very complex. You know, I don't know science as much as you do. So what's the process going through, what was the thought process in coming up with this innovative way of growing plants? No, I'm with you now.
Okay, so Vanessa and our colleague team member, their father's vegetable farm got destroyed because of the act of galamseyers. So we were given an assignment to come up with a solution to the problem. Then our science teacher, during our Koika lessons, our science teacher gave us, came up with a topic, the hydroponics farming system, then told us to do more research about it and come up with a project. Then that was when we got.
Gideon, I must say that I don't think you have a boring day at all on this project.
Not at all.
For students as young as this to be coming up with creative, innovative ways to solve real-life problems like galamsey, for me, my mind is blown. But let's talk about what we should expect. I know that what stage of the competition are you even in? And then walk us through what's coming after.
Okay, so the last stage was the pitching and judging.
Okay.
Which where the students had to present their first stage of the prototype. And there were judges who were aligned to give them guidelines on what they should do, the things they didn't do right, the ones they should correct. So they went through that. They even went through business planning. Yeah, so it's not just about just producing the thing, but also how to turn it into a business. That's all part of the competition.
Okay, so what's coming up now is the exhibition.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so on the 16th to 17th, all the teams, the 50 teams that are in the finalist stage, and then some selected teams in the other, the semi-finalists, who we call them, okay, I forgot the name, but so those teams, they didn't qualify, but they are still in the process in developing the ideas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they will also be included. So there are about 60 teams who will be presenting or showing forth what they have done.
Where can we watch and follow this program happening? Where can we watch it? across social media platforms?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So all the social media platforms is on
What's
there.
the name? Like, where do we go? What's the name of the platform? Should we look for G-Step?
Yes, G-Step
Okay.
Awards and Exhibition.
Okay, so
Yes.
there's a page called G-Step Award and Exhibition across all social media platforms.
Yes,
they can follow the program from there.
Yes,
All right. Well, thank you. And it's happening at the National Theatre, I
National
understand.
Theatre.
Okay. And it will also be streamed on Joy Prime. So Joy Prime's Facebook page. So if you don't find their page, simply go to Joy Prime and you can watch all the action over there. It's on the 16th and on the 17th of this month of July. And it's happening at the National Theatre. Can ordinary people just come in and see what these students are exhibiting?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so it's open to the public. So just take a trip down there, 16th and 17th, and see for yourself the miraculous things that young people are doing. Yeah. Thank you all for coming. I wish you the very best. I'll see you in Agbuzume. All right, so Gideon is the project manager. Gideon Mensah is project manager. And wow, I forgot your name. Vanessa and Ifwa. All the best. I'll take a quick break now. When I return, there's more action on the AM show before we pop off. I'll be right back. All too soon, we've come to the end of the Wednesday edition, the wet Wednesday morning edition of the AM show. Could you have some dedications?
Well, this is from a friend of mine, Patrick of Takrady. He says, today is my wife's birthday. Wish her 7 million years for me. She is Ochewa Ama Ebuako Mensah, a tutor at Secondary College. Good morning to you. So, Ochewa Ama Ebuako Mensah, a happy birthday coming from your husband there. He says he wishes God will give you 7 million years. Your years. Wow. The guy loves you.
Yeah.
Stay with you for
7 million years.
Yes.
A gentle reminder, though, that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, and we provide quality housing at affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. Thank you for staying with us. Coming up next is Joy News Desk, and my name is Sweetie Abochi.
And I am Samuel Kojo Brace. Okay, so I also have to follow and then blow.
No!
Oh, can't I blow it? I don't have to blow the case. Okay, then I'd have to end up by saying, minimum under my Miss Simabe. The cable of my war Ghana, money is a new Miss Sima. Yamameza war a year. Near why my Ghana Yakizri. Nay, Yazoni. Yama and dash you Kizri and dash one be a people into and dying for. Bambani, yes, my Billa. Madame de Karen, you can take and da Cosro. Ora, one of my Benya. Samuel Kojo Brace, more would do better from me. Benya,
he's not done.
Now, me and from Kojo. Mane. Ozoka,
Miato, Echomia Dogo. Thank you. Bye bye.